Ah, hello, Razir. I'm glad you could make it. Glad you could escape the Elden Ring. Just waiting for people to come in, as is the norm. Understandable. Going to just switch over to this now. Hello, Knight. Yeah, that's true, Knight. Yes, part 2 of... No, Boyfriend Dungeon is a different game. Boyfriend Dungeon is a different game. Anyway, before we begin, after the stream yesterday, we got a donation from Zero Wolf. So I'm going to replay that so everyone can see it. Thank you, Zero Wolf, for the $2 donation. It's quite appreciated. Stream Elements is a little wiggy sometimes. Takes a bit. But yes, last time. Let me just get into the game proper. So, last time we did the wonderful giant but soft Kuya, Beast Prince of Moonforest. And we dealt with the small but quite fearsome and fascinating Tarun, Prince of Dragons. Today, we're doing these two. Falkner, Prince of the Fae, our scruffy uncle. And little Prince Elginder and his caretaker, the babysitter, the scruffy babysitter. Which of these two do you want to do first? It's voting time. So that's 2 for Vulcaner. And 1 for the little prince. Okay. We're going to go with Falkner, because I don't think we're going to get any more votes. Let's do this! I want to see the fairy prince. I gather my things and head down to the main hall to meet Prince Falkner. Almost at once, I see him, standing on a banister near the entrance. Hold on! Standing on a banister. He's going to be very tiny, isn't he? Oh my god, look! Look at how tiny he is! Look at him! Look at this! Why are you so small? was going to be small, but wow, he can't be any larger than my hand! He's as big as her hand! That's... Why? Why is he so small? That is amazing. But he catches my eye right away, as if lit by a beacon of light. There's a lot of people here. Most of them are travelers, tired and worn out from the cold outside, slumped and inconspicuous. Prince Faulkner, however, stands with his chest thrown out, his stance firm and bold. Oh, he's got a glare on him. Tiny uncle. I have to imagine that is the case, Knight. He looks proud, dignified, and, despite his size, completely at home in his surroundings, like he walked right out of a portrait of some dashing hero from history. And to think, he'd be hard to spot. Instead, I can't imagine noticing anyone else before him. He's too small and far off for me to see his expression, but I can tell he's seen me when he turns his face towards me and curtly nods. He gestures for me to approach, waving his arm in a large enough arc that he can be sure I'll see it from across the room. I approach him slowly, still unsure. As I come closer, the details of his face come into focus. His features are sharp, smooth, and handsomer than I expected. His hard, clear eye seems to stare right through me. I had thought he might be intimidated by me and how big I am compared to him, but I'm the one who feels nervous. You must be Rosemary. Thank you for answering my ad, rather. Oh, of course. And you're Prince Faulkner, right? I am! Pleased to meet you. Forgive my appearance. I usually try to dress up when I meet someone new, but time and supplies are short, so you'll have to suffer these drab travel clothes. The zoom in to signify getting closer is kind of funny. I like it, though. That's okay. I think you look great. I'm just wearing my regular armor, so... And what lovely armor it is! I look forward to traveling with you, Rosemary! Adventure! Yeah, me too. Yes! That is exactly what I'm going for, Fury. We just stand there silently for a moment. It's just kind of weird to look at him, a full-grown man scaled down. This might sound rude, but it's hard to believe he's real. I don't know what I expected, but it'll take some getting used to. Not to mention the way he looks at me with those sharp, commanding eyes. I can't explain why I get so nervous when he makes eye contact with me. I'm not usually like this. Oh, he's a tiny Dom. Okay. I feel so dumb for getting all tongue-tied, but for the moment, I just can't think of what to say. Well then, we're not going to be standing around here all day, I hope. You have everything you need. I'm ready to leave as soon as you are. Oh, sorry. Yes, of course I'm ready. Very well. He clears his throat and adjusts his posture slightly, like he's psyching himself up to say something. I'll have to ride you for the most of the journey. Sorry? On your shoulder. Not to worry, I don't weigh enough that you'd notice. It might be a bit awkward at first, but it's really the best way to do this. That's most of the reason I hired a guide in the first place. Yeah. Jokes. Comedy jokes. Oh, right. That's no problem. I stick my hand out at him, palm up. Faulkner looks at it, and his face falls, but only for a moment. He recovers quickly and gives me a hard smile. Ah, no, that's all right. Please, you don't... He waves his arms in a dismissive gesture. Oh, sorry. I'm not really sure what you want me to do here? You don't need to do anything. Right then. Quick, direct, and without apparent exertion, he leaps to my arm and begins to climb. Oh no! It takes him 2 short, precise movements to arrive on my shoulder. All of a sudden, he's next to my face, and I'm staring right into his eyes, which I can see clearly for the first time. Are the same color as his hair, a rich and dark turquoise, like a gem. Fancy. Just for future reference, you won't need to touch me with your hands at all. Actually, I must insist you don't. Understood? Yes, of course. I guess that's a thing for you? Sorry, I didn't know. He's very tiny. Any kind of, like, tough... You could kill him super easily. What? Wanting to avoid being grasped by the waist by a stranger? I imagine that's a thing for everyone. I nod, but I'm not really listening. He's so close now, I can really look at him. I was surprised to see such a small man, but now it's not really his height that makes me stare. He's just very handsome. I mean, yeah. He looks strong and sharp, and you can tell his clothes were made just for him because they accentuate him so well, like he was born in them. But it's not just his face or the way he dresses, or even how he talks. It's the way he carries himself. He seems so comfortable and in control, even in a place where everything's too big for him. There's something magnetic about a person like that. I have a hard time taking my eyes off him. Honestly, I don't usually get all flustered like this. Maybe it's just because he's so close and it's making me feel weird. Of course, it's not polite to stare, or a very smart thing to do, which I find out firsthand because while I'm staring transfixed at Faulkner, I managed to walk right into the door. Ow, Jesus. Rosemary, watch where you're going. Ow! There. Now are you finished? Gosh, that hurt. Huh? Finishes what? Staring at me. If you're through, I'd like to press on. I'm not going to get any taller, if that's what you're wondering. Oh, no. That wasn't... I mean... Well, here's our first choice, everyone. Do we tell him the truth? Or do we try and not do that? Also, mechanically, the way this game works, you choose one option is right, one option is wrong. If you get more right than wrong, you get the happy ending. And yes, that's 2 votes for telling him the truth. I have a feeling that that's going to be the one that people want, so let's tell him the truth. It's not because of that. I guess I heard you were good looking, but I had no idea. I'm not used to seeing guys who are, so, you know, hot. I mean, back home, some of the guys around town were cute, but not like... Yeah, we found both happy endings so far. Let's see if we can get the 4 for 4. I'm gonna stop talking now. Oh, well. Thank you very much. I do try to make myself decent, so it's nice to know my efforts aren't wasted. But just as I'm not going to get any taller, I'm not going to get any handsomer either. There's no beating perfection. Okay. Faulkner's grown on me. I like this boy. I like this uncle. Haha, just a little joke. Please, onwards. Right, of course. Sorry about that, by the way. Sometimes I say stuff without really thinking about it. Don't let it bother you. Actually, I'm glad you're not too formal. It's a nice change. I'm so used to being surrounded by stuffy, upper-class types who think a prodigious vocabulary is indistinguishable from meaningful discourse. Ha! God, I love... He's showing an example of what he hates. I like this. I like this uncle. I'm trying not to stare anymore, but out of the corner of my eye... Is he blushing a little? I wouldn't have thought a guy like him was even capable of blushing. Maybe he's not as confident as he seems. That's true, he is small. It'd be hard for the blood to rush to the face, and make the same kind of significant changes that a blush would because the size difference. Well, I guess I don't know him that well enough to judge yet. Yeah, I've heard that the bad endings are bittersweet, so Probably it doesn't end with Rose being eaten. Let's hope not. This trip is going to be interesting either way. I do my best to push thoughts out of my mind and head on the snowy trail, leaving the tavern behind us. I think she sounds like how I'm voicing her, where she's kind of like shy and teen-ish, but not like a teenager. She just is a happy lady. Oh, look at cat mouth. Cat mouth. Also, I love how Faulkner looks like a distance model. He looks like he is being viewed from far away. I can't feel him riding on my shoulder, but I'm very aware of his presence. It's going to take some getting used to, but it's probably weird for him too. I'll do my best to be polite and hopefully not make a fool of myself anymore. Uh-oh. As soon as we make it to the foot of the mountain, a blast of furious cold hits us all at once. The wind whips my hair back, and I squeeze my eyes shut as tiny shards of ice sting my face. This is normal for winter. I have to imagine Faulkner's having a bad fucking day. Whoa, Mount Needle sure knows how to say hello. Look at him! Look at how cute he is! Faulkner stays quiet, but I can feel a faint tug on my hair. I realize he's holding on to steady himself. His deft hands tangled in my hair. I'm glad my face is already red from the cold. Rosemary, calm down. Okay, listen. I'm seriously not trying to be rude or anything, but are you gonna be okay out there? Like the wind and everything?
Yes, it's alright. If it were necessary, I could make this trip by myself. I've made plenty of similar excursions in the past, but they've never given me much trouble. Sad fact is, however, that going solo would take much longer. The snow alone might add a full week to the journey.
And yeah, Rosemary is pretty damn horny.
And in fact, in this case, typo. And in this case, time is of the essence.
Oh yeah? What's the big hurry? You have a fancy party in Starlight City to get to?
Actually, yes. I'm getting married. Oh no! Oh no!
Small tiny man! And also we are stealing him. This is interesting. I wonder where this is going to go. Married? He's getting married? I know it's silly, but I feel oddly deflated. Well, that certainly is very, very important. You can't be late for your own wedding. That's one of the main things about getting married, I assume.
Yes, you're right. We'd better make haste.
There's something hard in his eyes as he says that, though. Or am I just imagining it? There's something hard that either way, I'm sure it's none of my business. Once the prince is secure on my shoulder, I start walking. So, what's the Fey Kingdom like? Didn't your people, invent the airship and stuff? How come you didn't take one of those to Starlight?
We've invented a great many things. An airship is, indeed, what carried me to the tavern, but our ships aren't made for flying in harsh weather. The tavern was as far as they would bring me. After that, I had to arrange an alternative mode of transport.
I kind of resent being reduced to a mode of transport.
But it's alright. As I've said, I've done my fair share of hard travel in my life. This shouldn't be much different, even if I must partially rely on you.
Hey, I'm not that bad. Am I?
Oh no, of course not. Try to understand. I look at you and it's hard to imagine how such huge, thick legs and feet aren't just constantly tripping over themselves.
And yes, he could do that, Fury. Wow, he just came out and said that, didn't he? I like to think I have pretty thick skin if somebody doesn't like how I look. They can just go ahead and keep being wrong. But with him, I feel like I just can't let it go. That's totally ridiculous. Have you ever seen me trip over a thing?
I suppose that's fair. You are rather steady on your feet. It's just that, navigating a dangerous stretch of land such as Mount Needle, it requires delicacy, finesse, A certain precise quality of movement, which a person of your size simply cannot have.
Ah, tiny man.
Your legs are like massive pillars, well suited to hold a slab of rock off the ground, but I wouldn't ask them to dance.
Ah, Faulkner. Faulkner, buddy. I get that you mean that for all humans, because they're all very tall compared to you, but come on, man. Oh, like you're such a good dancer.
Well, I'm not the best of the best, but I am classically trained.
Oh, I don't care. What do you know anyway? I'm delicate, I'm precise, I'm graceful as anything. I can jump over a giant boar. I'm very precise. This is fascinating.
Oh yes, of course. So much so that you walked into a door within 5 minutes of meeting me.
I admitted that that was because you're hot. I told you that was just because, oh, never mind. Besides, that could happen to anyone. Who among us hasn't walked into a door?
I have never once walked into a single thing that I did not intend to walk into. That's the first thing they teach you at the academy.
Academy for what, Faulkner? Academy for being a fucking prick? This mention of an academy stirs something in my memory. Yes, that's right. Some of the scholars I used to work for mentioned some big famous school in the Fey Kingdom. Oh, you mean the Lafata Academy, right? You went there? And yes, Knight? That's pretty good. I've heard it's very prestigious. Or more accurately, snobby. But I'm not going to say that out loud.
Guilty as charged. I'm impressed that you've heard of it.
Oh, why? Because you think I'm too big and dumb to know what a school is? Never went to any fancy academy, but I probably couldn't even get into yours. Trying to keep the resentment out of my tone without much success.
Don't be silly. Of course you couldn't get into Lafata.
Oh yeah? And why not?
You'd never fit through the front door.
Of course, obviously. It's a house for ants, Rosemary. You can't go in there. You got me.
Yes, I've had that one in my pocket for a while.
The achievement unlocked. What is this? A kingdom for ants? Fuck. I take a small break from walking and lean against a tree. It's good to know he has a sense of humor, but I'm still not sure how I feel about how he talks to me. I steal a glance at him, and from the look on his face, he seems to have some idea of what I'm thinking.
Rosemary, I do apologize if I've been rude. You may not believe this, but I don't take any pleasure in being so venomous. I've been feeling anxious lately. Not that it's any excuse. You're helping me, and I should be more appreciative.
Well, do we ask for his honest opinion, or do we apologize, accept his apology, and do we accept his apology and say that we hope we weren't rude either? That's one vote for apology accepted. Yeah, I feel like apology accepted would be the good ending here. Although he doesn't like formal things. Although we just are being nice. Okay. Apology accepted. I hope I wasn't rude either.
No, you have been very accommodating to me so far. I could hardly ask for more of a companion. Thank you, Rosemary.
You're welcome. I'm just trying to do my job, you know?
Of course you are, and you're doing it well. I should certainly be more respectful and try not to pick at you. It's uncouth. It's just that, well, you must understand it from my perspective. You are rather large, so it doesn't always occur to me not to mention it.
I don't mind you mentioning it, but you shouldn't make assumptions either. You wouldn't like it if I called you small all the time, would you? He smiles, but his eyes are narrow. I can tell how much he hates it.
As a reasonable person, I can understand why you might see that way. But the fact is, I'm not small. I happen to be the ideal height for what I am. A perfect specimen of the Fey gentleman, some would say.
Well, I'm the perfect specimen of a rosemary, then. He smiles at me again. This time, I can tell it's genuine.
I can certainly believe that. Point taken!
So, I guess you're probably not used to people my size, huh?
On the contrary, I deal with your kind often. I travel regularly on behalf of my kingdom. If a man truly loves his home, his duty is to leave it, so he should know it's worth all the more by comparison. Taking that to heart, I visited every major city in the land. I'm not content to be some pampered prince sitting at home, giving nothing but back to the people who gave me everything. Though I do admit, I've been handed many things on a silver platter. Like food, mostly. Enrollment at Lafata Academy, to name just one. A school which many of those less fortunate than I would have been given anything to attend.
Interesting.
I've never forgot that fact. I always worked as hard as I could and excelled at all my studies. My skills are hard-earned, not simply the result of my impeccable breeding. I wanted to take full advantage of what I was given, and so, once I finished my education, I put those gifts to work, and in the service of my kingdom.
Yet, Faulkner seems quite in love with himself, but not without reason.
I travel, meet diplomats, research, and engage in politics firsthand. I even served in a volunteer army for a time.
It's okay, Faulkner. I believe you work hard. You don't have to keep trying to convince me.
Oh, pardon me. I was rambling? Ahem. I'll continue to work hard as long as I live. That's why I'm here now, on this mountain, this journey, with you.
But you're crossing this mountain so you can get married, right? It's not exactly hard work. It's a blessing. Wrong. Wrong. Relationships are work. That doesn't mean they feel like work, but they are work. It's almost certainly a political marriage, yeah. That's what my folks say about marriage anyway. They've been married for like forever, so they're all corny about that stuff.
I'm sure they're right. But, Rosemary, may I be honest with you, in a way that may tarnish your spotless impression of me?
Of course, Faulkner.
The truth is, my feelings about this marriage are mixed, to say the least. I mean, don't mistake me, I do feel excited. But then, when I think about it for too long, I start to feel somewhat ill. But perhaps it's natural to be nervous. I suppose it goes without saying, but I've never done this before.
Wow, really? You've never been with someone before? That's not what he said, Rosemary. He said he's never been married before.
My dear, I most certainly have, but that's neither here nor there.
I do love that Faulkner does take time out of this speech to be like, girl, please, I do fuck. Come on.
I've never been married, and I'm not sure how I know how to be a husband. There wasn't a class at Lafata Academy for that particular discipline.
Let's think about this. Are you at least marrying for love? I do love love. Love is good.
Yes, I believe I am.
Interesting. It took him a moment to answer. Did he really have to think about it? There's that hard look in his eyes again. Why should I feel sad talking about this? I barely know him, but I feel it all the same. Well, if you're sure, I know it'll work out. If you're sure you have the right reasons, that's like a solid foundation, and everything else will be built on top of that.
You may be right. You are singularly wise, Rosemary.
No way. I just pick up stuff here and there. Maybe not. Do you really think so?
Well, of course. How could I not?
Faulkner is pretty smitten with us.
How about you? There must be someone special in your life.
Marrying out of love for his kingdom. Yes, that's probably what it is. He doesn't love his betrothed. He loves his kingdom, and he's marrying her for his kingdom. Oh, no, I've never had anything like that, actually. Ever since I left home, I've been trying to become a knight. It's busy work, and I don't stay in one place for long. I don't have a lot of opportunities to, meet people. Do we admit that we're excited to meet him? Or do we just say, it's fine, it'll happen when it happens? Excitement, or opposite of excitement. Contentment. So that's one vote for excited. One vote for it'll happen when it happens. Okay, I have my D20. 1 to 10, excitement. I have a D20. I don't have a coin. That is a 20. So, that's fine. It'll happen when it happens. I'm pretty happy with my life. Maybe some things could be better, but mostly I'm good.
Well, that's all one can ask for, isn't it? Any more and you're just being greedy.
Oh no, this was a mistake. This was the wrong choice. Faulkner, you seem kind of, I don't know, sad or something. You are happy to be getting married, aren't you?
Of course I am. Who wouldn't be? Thank you for your concern, but please, put it out of your mind.
It's none of my business how he feels, right? We're both happy to move on so we can keep walking. Or I do, at least. Faulkner keeps riding. So far, Mount Needle hasn't lived up to its dangerous reputation, but I know anything could happen out here. I do my best to keep my guard up, and eventually we come to a path that splits. Okay, I've studied the trails. I'm pretty sure we should follow this lower path. It's a long way around, but it'll be much safer.
Nonsense! If the higher route is faster, that's the one we should take.
But we'd be much more likely to run into more dangerous creatures. Ah! Adventure, though! Also, it'll be much colder up there. I mean, it's cold now, but it could be way worse.
I don't want to argue about this. Don't you remember what I told you? Time is of the essence.
Sure, but if we get attacked or if the weather acts up, it'll end up slowing us down more, won't it? Listen, it's my job to keep you safe, so...
Ha! Not likely. You're here to be, well, for lack of a better term, my steed. I'm responsible for you, so I'll be the one keeping you safe. Having said that, we shall do as I say.
What? If you even, take one step into the snow, it'll be up in your own head. If it keeps on snowing, you'll never get out.
Rosemary, what's the matter with you?
What do you mean? I'm just stating the obvious. How could you possibly protect us? You're fucking the size of my hand!
Rosemary, I suggest you keep that gigantic mouth of yours shut.
But what? What's that gigantic thing about? You think you're better than me just because of my size or something? Yeah, Faulkner's probably too small to sink into the snow.
Not because of your size, no. I'm sure you'd be just as clumsy and dim-witted at half my height.
Hey, I told you, I don't like when you talk to me like that.
That's too bad. Have you forgotten I'm the prince here? I can say what I like. You'll obey my command, and that's final. As I've said, should we come into any trouble, I will protect you.
No, you won't. I'll protect you.
I've had enough of this. We're taking the high path, and that's final. Onward, adventure!
Gives a sharp tug on my hair, which hurts a lot more than I expected. Ow! Hey, that's not okay. But we do end up doing what he wants anyway. How is it possible I'm getting bossed around by someone I could literally step on? I guess he's right, but this is what he hired me for. There's nothing much I can do. Here's the thing. We did see him leap from the banister onto her arm and then climb up her arm in 2 goes. He probably has proportional strength. He's like Ant-Man. He has all the strength of like a 6-foot-tall guy in the like an inch or 2. I trudge on, feeling a little resentful, but when I thought we were getting I thought we were getting along better. The trail is steady. There's snow and wind, but it hasn't gotten too harsh. Maybe this will be okay after all. Although it's a little hard to pay much attention to my surroundings. First time we argued, we got it over pretty quickly. This time, though, when we're not sulking, we're snapping at each other.
You see? You see? Your worries were for nothing. I knew this path would be better. Next time, it would do you well to listen.
Alright already. Gosh, you're loud for a little guy. Yeah, that is true.
Ah, how surprising. Another comment about my height. Have you no imagination? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if your brain was smaller than mine, despite the size of your head.
Faulkner, that's not how brains work. Also, fuck, that's rude. What? Is that what you're so mad about? Look, I didn't mean little in a bad way. I only meant... I don't get to tell him that, what I meant. I'm interrupted by a chilling sound that cuts through the air. Oh no. Ooh. Not to change the subject, but now I'm kind of worried about whatever that was.
Behind you.
Slowly, I turn around. 2 piercing eyes stare right at me. Oh, a wolf! A wolf. No, wolves! Uh-oh. Oh no, watch out, Rosemary! They're gonna surround you! A whole pack of them, fierce. Fangs bared, their guttural growls rising in chorus. We're surrounded. See? What did I tell you about the high road? Now we gotta deal with a wolf attack.
Perhaps you weren't entirely wrong.
Yes, throw the prince like a stick.
But not to worry. This sort of thing is well within my wheelhouse.
No, I'm handling this. You got us into this mess, I'll get us out. We shouldn't waste any more time bickering. The pack is closing in on us and they look mean. Do we wait and see, or do we attack the largest one to assert dominance? Now, I suspect Faulkner probably has magic. He's Fey. He can probably talk to animals. But don't let my opinion influence you. Okay, that's 2 for wait and see. So... Miriam could do that. Yeah, looks like we're gonna wait and see then. I decide to wait and see what they do, but while I have my eye on the largest one, another wolf attacks. Before I can register what's happening, it's on my leg! I kick it away and almost topple over. Oh no! 2 more wolves leap atop me, scrabbling for a weak spot in my armor. Ah! Fuck! Oh shit! Ah! I can take them. I know I can, but there's just so many. More than I thought. Slash! Grab my sword and manage to knock them away. But as I get my bearings, I realize for the first time that Faulkner is no longer on my shoulder. Faulkner? Faulkner! In the second it takes for me to cry out, the wolves are on top of me again. Uh-oh. I need to get to Prince Faulkner before the wolves do, but I can hardly get away from them. Get them away from me. The largest wolf, fangs bared, lunges at my throat. I've got to think of something fast. The large wolf stops short and crumples into the snow. There's a small spurt of blood in its shaggy neck. Oh my god, Faulkner is a fucking badass. What the? I catch a glimpse of a small shape darting through the air. Another flash and another wolf falls down dead. The rest of the pack are glancing around, panicked, searching out their invisible attacker. Tiny shape lands on a boulder, and I finally see what it is. Prince Faulkner! Oh my god, he has a spear! He's a dragoon! Yes! Yes! There's a bloody spear in his hand, glittering like glass in the snowy sunlight. Where was he keeping that? From here, I can see his face. He doesn't seem scared or even very excited. He has an expression of measured calm, of certainty, that of a man who is doing his job and knows how to do it well. He leaps again. It's amazing, impossible how high and fast he can jump. And another wolf falls, pierced through the throat and killed instantly. Fuck yeah! Dragoon! Do jump! And it could be made of ice, it could be made of magic. I'm fucking hyped for this. I love Uncle Dragoon. By now, the rest of the pack have caught on. They dash off and disappear into the mountain. Faulkner, that was amazing. With one last graceful leap, Faulkner returns to his place on my shoulder. He wipes his brow, exhales, and gives me a conspiratorial wink.
Bit of a shame to have a slaughter like that. Poor things are only doing what nature intended. Still, if nature is red in tooth and claw, then there are times we must strive to match it.
It's going to make him super full of himself. Absolutely. How do you jump around like that? Rosemary, you can also jump around like that, just comparatively speaking. You must be so strong, like really strong.
It just comes from combat training and experience, nothing more. Still, I'm not one to reject a compliment. Thank you. Although I can't help but notice you didn't do much.
Hey, I was caught off guard. If you'd given me a chance, I would have. We're interrupted by a low, vicious growl. Oh my... Oh no! Oh shit, a bobcat! Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a lithe and muscular shape slink towards us. A snow leopard, poised to strike. Maybe that's the real reason the wolves ran away. Before I can blink, it lashes out, unleashing its deadly claws. Faulkner notices only too late. Oh dear. Fortunately, I'm ready to move. I twist my body, jerking my shoulder away so that Faulkner is just out of reach of those claws. Leopards are much more dangerous than wolves. Fact. I'm going to have to finish this quickly. Leopard pounces and I duck at just the right moment. I grab my sword, and in one fluid motion, I slide my blade into the beast's chest, right through its heart. I mean, bobcats are basically snow leopards, come on. They're all mountain lions. Leopard doesn't have time to cry out in pain. It gasps, voiceless, and dies. Rip that cat. Well then! Fair point, that is true. And yes, Rosemary still gets her moment to show off. Once I'm sure the leopard is done for, I retrieve my sword and wipe the blood off in the snow.
Rosemary, I have to admit, that was some very nice footwork. If you hadn't moved at precisely the right moment, I would have been killed. You're not nearly as clumsy as you look.
Ha! High praise.
Really though, I mean it. You were amazing.
Thanks, Faulkner. I'm sorry I doubted you when you said you could protect me. You're obviously an amazing fighter.
Well, it's clear to me now that the same goes for you.
Once again, I find myself staring at Faulkner a little too long. This time, though, he stares right back. That That spear of yours is pretty cool. Is it made of glass?
Oh, it's a type of clear diamond, actually. A special product of the Fey Kingdom. We've found many uses for it. I just have a diamond spear. I'm a fucking badass. Adventure! Would you like to see my spear, Rosemary? It's a metaphor.
I take it gingerly, even though it's like a toy spear in my hands. It's surprisingly heavy. Wow, it feels hefty, even to me. It must be hard to carry.
No more so than your sword is for you, I'm sure. That thing is almost as big around as you are.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I had to train a long time before I could even lift it. You know what? That is a good point. And we've seen how strong Rosemary is. She can lift fucking Kuya and then leap like 10 feet in the air. She's also pretty fucking tough. It's just magic diamond.
There you are. If a weapon is not first a burden, then any fool could use it. You and I, Rosemary, are no fools. Anyway, this spear is another gift from my home, so I'm happy to carry it, regardless of its weight.
You know, my sword is kind of a special thing from my homeland, too. It's made from an alloy that Northerners discovered a few hundred years ago.
Really? I've never heard of that. Do explain.
Ah, sword talk. Sword nerd, sword nerd. We spend the rest of the day walking on and chatting excitedly about swords and weapons. Although it's cold and harsh out here on the trail, I hardly notice it. Faulkner isn't exactly shy, but I've never seen him so talkative. It's not until we notice the sun is set that we realize we should stop.
And anyway, for my money, a good halberd is... Oh, it's gotten dark. Should we stop and make camp for the night?
Yeah, that's a good idea. I had no idea how late it was. You know, this was nice.
It really was. I haven't had good shop talk like that since my academy days.
And I've never really talked to anyone like that ever. I've never known anyone who was interested in swords and stuff. Not in the same way I was. I guess I didn't realize how lonely it was until now.
Yes, I know what you mean.
It doesn't take long to make a camp in a nearby cave. We settle in and rest by the firelight. I'd say the journey is going pretty well so far, give or take a wolf attack or two.
Ha! I quite agree. You know, you've been working hard all day carrying me, slaying beasts. Why don't you sit back and let me make you some dinner?
Veneria. Sure, that sounds good, but I only brought rations like dried meat and stuff. I don't know what you can make from that.
Rosemary, Rosemary, Rosemary. Do you take me for some ill-prepared dullard, wandering around without makings for fine cuisine, always close at hand?
Are you saying that you've been carrying the ingredients for a fancy dinner this whole time?
Always! Here, sit back, my dear. Allow me to take you on a culinary journey! Adventure!
I'm not picky, but sure, whatever you say. Faulkner immediately gets to work. From his pack, he pulls some small strips of what looked like kind of smoked fish, a clove of garlic which he has to grab with both arms, and some other ingredients in small jars that have been diced into fine powder. He uses his spear to cut up the garlic, and then I realize that preparing ingredients must be hard work, really hard work for Fey people like him. Still, the work goes quickly, and from how confident and how at ease he is, it seems like he enjoys cooking and does it often. Oh, hello, Cordy. I'm glad you could make it. I guess that's why I never quite think of Faulkner as pompous. It's not a facade he's putting on. He's got the skills to back up his attitude. Soon, he presents me with a small tray of food. Even though it's tiny, it looks delicious. He made tiny food! Yay!
Smoked Fey minnow with ginger and garlic. It's a staple in the palace. You'll love it! Although I suppose for you it's more of a sampling than a meal. I do apologize. I don't think I'd be cooking for anyone but myself.
That's okay. I'm sure it'll be delicious. Bottoms up! Without wasting a second, I grabbed the plate in my fingers and shoved the food into my mouth. Faulkner looks slightly aghast. Oh my gosh, that's so good! Can't believe you just made that. You can make it whenever you want and eat it all the time. You're so lucky.
Rosemary, you just swallowed the whole meal in one go!
Oh, yeah, sorry. Was that bad manners? They really were delicious, though. Am I not crazy, or did I taste a hint of lemon?
Oh, you noticed that? Yes, that's my personal twist on the classic dish. It complements the Fey Minnow's natural,
Band a robot.
Rosemary, are you alright?
It's only when he says something that I realize I've started crying. Hastily, I try to wipe my tears away. Oh no, what happened? Goodness, I don't know what's wrong with me. This is so embarrassing. Sniff, I'm sorry, Faulkner. Please ignore me.
My cooking wasn't that bad, was it?
No, that's the problem. It was really good. Too good. I haven't had a meal cooked for me since I've been home. My mother used to go fishing and fry up what she caught for us with salt and a twist of lemon. I guess tasting this, it brought up some strong memories. Oh, that's sad. Faulkner comes close and hops onto my pack so he's high enough to put his hand on my arm. Even though he's so small, his touch is surprisingly warm. It's very soothing. Sniff, thanks for being sweet to me. I'm sorry, I really don't cry very often.
You miss your home. It's understandable. I miss mine too. How long have you been away?
A long time. I left to become a knight. I don't want to give up, not ever. This is more important to me than anything. But sometimes I just miss my family so much that I can't help but daydream about what it would be like to just go home. I can't do that, though. Not until I can make them proud. Not until I can make myself proud. I'm just stubborn like that, I guess.
You're not stubborn. You're passionate. You're determined. It's admirable. For whatever it's worth, I'm already proud of you. It takes a stout heart to make a sacrifice for something worthwhile.
I'm glad you think so, Sniff. You know, I think it's a good sign that your cooking made me cry. It means the taste of it went straight to my heart. You're a great chef. Faulkner smiles, but looks away and runs a hand through his hair. He chuckles low under his breath, the way you do when you're not happy about something but have to laugh at it anyway. Faulkner? Is something the matter?
It's just that. I'm cooking for you and talking to you about your feelings, your hopes, your regrets, your dreams. I suppose this must be what it's like to have a wife. I could get used to it if she were like...
He doesn't finish the thought, but casts me a meaningful glance. Is he saying that he wants his wife to be like me? I feel a little rush of excitement and a twinge of guilt. I bet you'll be happy to see your fiancée again once all this is over.
Actually, Rosemary, I've never met her.
No, I feel like he likes her legs. They're just big perspective-wise for him. Huh? What do you mean?
It's a purely political marriage. I decided our union would be the best course of action for my kingdom. I sent her a letter declaring my intentions a month ago, and she agreed.
Yep. But, interestingly, it is a political marriage that he arranged. Which means that if he breaks it off, that sucks, but also he's just changing his mind. Which, I mean, that's cool. Usually a political marriage is someone's, like, controlling parent making it happen.
I have no idea what kind of person she is, or how I'll feel about her. All I know about her is that she's fey like me, and wealthy. Other than that, my bride is a stranger to me.
Oh, I didn't know that. I feel a strange fluttering in my chest. At once dizzy and, at the same time, light and free. So you're not really... I mean, you're not in love with someone else? Or anyone, I mean?
No, in fact, until I've reached the city. Suppose you could say I'm unattached.
That's interesting. My face is red again, but since we're warmed by the fire, there's no blaming it on the cold this time. You must really love your kingdom, huh?
Yes, I do. My kingdom, my people, they've given me everything. Not just the academy or the royal family, the kingdom itself, my home. Our cities are so beautiful and unique. Standing amongst the buildings, you can't truly be unhappy. Elevates everything, even what's inside you. But since the other kingdoms are so big and made the world in their image, we had to make our own world by ourselves. It's all ours, only ours, and it's perfect. And I couldn't be more proud. At home, I wake up at the crack of dawn just to see our buildings bathed in sunrise. I've seen a lot of this world, and there's nothing in it more beautiful than that. Makes my heart ache, and I can't share it with everyone. I would have liked to share it with you, perhaps.
I could come see it, couldn't I?
I suppose you could visit, but you could never...
I could never see it like you do.
No, you never could.
Well, maybe I can see a piece of it.
What do you mean?
Yeah, she'd be a little too big, given the people are like hand size. Show me something you learned there. Something from the Lafata Academy, maybe. That is kind of like seeing a little part of your kingdom, isn't it? You said you were classically trained in dance, right?
I suppose I could dance for you.
I'd love to see that.
What's with that mocking tone? I assure you, my dance is quite beautiful. Shall I?
He stands and gets into a graceful position. Wait, not like that. I can hardly see you from way down there.
Do you have a better idea?
I could hold you. If you were in my hands, I could see you up close. Or you could just kind of like lay down on the ground. You could just lay down. Just lay down on the ground.
I don't know.
Well, do we say this, or do we just lie on the ground? Lying on the ground is an option, but what option will we go with? That's one vote for touch. Two votes for touch. Any other votes while I get a drink of water? Okay, touch it is.
No, in fact, it might be nice.
So I crouch and extend my cupped hand. My face is calm, but my heart is pounding. He steps onto my palm and feels light but solid. Very slowly, I bring my hands up to my face. I'm looking at him right in the eye in a way that was hard to do before. I can see all of him now. He's closer than ever.
Forgive me, I might be out of practice. It's been years since I learned this.
He stands with his arm and leg in a graceful curve. I wait patiently for him to start. He's so close, and I have an excuse to stare at him this time, so I'm going to take advantage of that. After a few moments, he still hasn't started to dance. Actually, he looks kind of troubled. Is everything okay?
It's just, I feel rather foolish doing this on my own. This should be a couple's dance. I wish I could take you in my arms and really show it to you.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. Give him a finger! Let him grab your finger!
And anyway, I find myself distracted. Forgive me, but I can feel your warmth all around me. Rather like being embraced. And your face is so close, it's hard to think about anything else.
He's staring right at me now. No wonder I'm distracting him. My face must look so huge. I wonder if that's strange or sort of scary.
Rosemary, you're so beautiful.
Oh. He steps closer to my face. At once I feel very awake and intense, open to notice every detail and feel every touch. What about my dance?
Oh, who cares about that?
He comes closer and closer. I feel small hands on my cheek and then my mouth. His fingertips brush my lips softly and slowly. Yeah, we're getting... This is all your fault. You have indulged the horniness. I can't help but shiver, but I had no idea it'd be so sensitive there. Those tiny fingers are just so light, and the way they touch me with such finesse. I've never felt anything like that before. And then I feel his mouth. He presses his lips all over mine, slowly and deliberately, moving from one spot to the next. I feel the pleasant brush of his mustache, his teeth, gentle yet urgent. It's the strangest kiss I've ever had. It's the only kiss I've ever had, in fact. But I can't imagine wanting anything different, anything more.
I'm sorry if that was untoward. I couldn't handle myself.
I'm glad you couldn't. I want to stay awake, but I'm so exhausted from the journey today, and I can tell Faulkner is pretty tired too. I get comfortable on the floor and pull a blanket over myself. I wait for Faulkner to get his own bedding ready, but he doesn't move. Instead, he pulls gently on my fingers, wrapping them around himself. He wants me to hold him tonight. I hold him to my chest so he'll be warm, and we fall asleep like that, together. Well, that was nice. We set out together early that morning. For the first few hours, we don't say much. It's a beautiful sunrise, and it's snowing, but not too heavily. Faulkner rides in his usual place on my shoulder. Wonder if I should bring up what happened last night. So nice, so unexpected. I hate thinking that it has to be over so soon. I want more and more nights like that. I want to keep learning about him and keep being surprised by him. I want him to learn about me, too. But he's getting married. There's no way around that, unless he decides... No, there's no point in thinking like that. That'll just get my hopes up. Just as I decide it's better not to say anything, Faulkner breaks the silence.
Rosemary, I think I like you very much. And I hope you'll forgive me for being so direct, but do you feel the same way about me?
Well, which one? Do we admit that we had a crush on him the moment we saw him? Or you were a jerk at first, but yeah, I like you. Enthusiastic, yes? Or hesitant, yes? Both of these are true, but which one is the right one? Okay, that's 2 votes for I had a crush on you the moment I saw you. So, let's go with it.
Really? I'm not quite sure I deserve that. You behaved as if you were some kind of thoughtless oaf. But I don't think that anymore. Hopefully that should be obvious. Damn, I'm making a mess of this, aren't I?
Calm down, you're doing fine. It is kind of cute to see you get all worried about me, though.
I'm just the slightest bit out of practice when it comes to talking about these matters. I don't want to speak at all if I'll only say the wrong things.
Even if you do mess up, it'll be okay. Trust me, I mess up all the time. Yeah, I think this was the right one. I'm kind of an expert.
Haha! Well, far be it from me to ignore your expert's advice. I'm struggling with how to say this. Suppose I'll just jump right into it. I've been with many women in my life, but I've never felt like this. I feel as though a window has been opened in a room that's been closed for a long time. I'm not saying that I'm in love with you. That would be rather forward, considering we've only just met. But you're the first person with whom I've ever felt, I don't know how to describe it, giddy? Hopeful? When I fell asleep last night, the only thing I could think about was just how much the prospect of another day with you excited me. You're the first person I've ever wanted to fall in love with.
My heart feels like a bird fluttering around in my chest. There's something so wonderfully scary about hearing someone say the very thing you hope they would. Like you're afraid you'll wake up and find out it was just a dream. Gosh, Faulkner, that's... I don't know what to say.
But you must understand. I never thought I would feel this. I thought I wasn't the kind of man who would ever fall in love.
Faulkner just admitting straight up, I thought I was a slut. I never thought that this would happen.
I never thought I would have a wholesome relationship. But it's because I thought of myself that way that I even entertained the idea of a political marriage in the first place. If I knew I'd never marry for myself, why not marry for my kingdom? But now, I just wish I'd met you first. Then again, if I'd never made this journey, I wouldn't have met you at all. Damn it to hell!
But if you feel differently now, I mean, I'm not saying you should leave her and marry me instead. Maybe you could just slow things down and we could just spend more time together. Like, see how things go. That would be okay, wouldn't it? He looks at me with such longing. It takes him a moment to gather his thoughts and speak. I mean, that's also entirely true, Knight.
Rosemary.
She could also just be like the king's consort.
I can't make that choice anymore. I need to tell you something I haven't told anyone. I believe if I do, you'll understand.
Okay. My heart starts beating faster. I don't like the sound of this.
A few years ago, my father let me look at the Fey Kingdom's finances. The royal family, the entire kingdom, were going bankrupt.
Oh no! If only you didn't use the fucking magical diamonds of your kingdom to make cooking ware and spears and, use it to sell to people. Sell people your magic gemeralds, Faulkner.
We can't easily participate in global trade. How can we benefit from goods that are too gigantic for us to use? And we invest so much in the brilliant minds of our scholars and inventors. We build airships and factories and all manner of amazing things. But we see almost no profit, because the rest of the world is just too big. Our greatest innovations are children's toys in the hands.
True. And also, good point, Faulkner. It's actually pretty hard to sell the stuff that they make because, it's too small. What if we became Santa? Or, make clockwork. Make clocks. Faulkner, that's awful. You and your people deserve more than that.
It's just one of many problems. For example, only Fae are able to live in our kingdom. It's too small for anybody else. For all we spend to make our city so beautiful and so advanced, we can't even benefit from tourism. Fae families keep leaving to seek their fortune elsewhere, but there's no immigration, no new blood. Nothing to replace the ones who leave.
They are good at detail work. Yeah, they could do... There are answers to this. There are answers to this.
Our people have only two options. Stagnate or dwindle.
They could definitely make clocks, yeah.
We have dwindled. Slowly and gradually. Our population, or our resources, in a handful of generations will have nothing.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
No, we don't like to share our weaknesses, if we can help it. Sometimes we don't even like to admit them to ourselves.
I don't get it. How could one marriage possibly fix a problem that big?
Haha, it's simple. So perfect. I thought myself a brilliant forward thinker for devising this scheme. Now I almost wish I never had. Sigh. I'll try to explain. As you're probably aware, not all Fey people live in our kingdom. A good many families left to live in the other kingdoms with the rest of you. And many of those wayward families have thrived financially. However, they suffer in a different way. The Fey kingdom turns its back on them as traitors and deserters. They lose touch with their home, their culture, their history. They must struggle every day to exist in a world that was never made for them. Even when they succeed, they are always suffering, always too small. But because they are, in essence, exiled, they can never go home to where they belong. But these wayward Fae are still my people. I know they are. The woman I've been in contact with is the daughter of a particularly wealthy Fae family, one that has lived in exile out in the southern capital kingdom for centuries. Her family's riches alone would be enough to keep the royal family thriving for generations. Starting to see where this is going, but that doesn't make it any easier. Our union will not only solve the Fey Kingdom's financial problems temporarily, I believe it will also help address the problem in the long term. My bride-to-be is quite well known, even among those in the kingdom who reject outsiders. And I, of course, am the prince, who represent the two halves of the Fey. Our marriage would be seen as a symbol of unity. The Fey are all one people, one no matter where we live or what we do. The kingdom need not turn its back on those who left, and can welcome their experiences and prosperity. The wayward Fae need not lose their connection to their history, their culture, their people. In fact, we may even encourage more to venture out and make their fortune, knowing they can always return. It can bring the Fae together in a way that lasts. We need never be estranged and impoverished again. But why does it have to be you who does this? What could it be someone else? Rosemary, I'm the only son of the king and queen. It can only be me. And even if it weren't the case, I've known nothing but happiness and success in my life. I know that everything I have, everything I am, my people gave to me. Which means my life is not truly mine. I owe it to them. I do marry out of love, but not for a woman I've never met. I love my kingdom.
Yep, we called it. Give yourself a round of applause, chat. He is in love with his country. We haven't heard his parents' names, and so far all of these stories have had another character in them, so we might even meet someone who mentions his parents' names.
And I must save it, or else how can I stand to live? Do you understand?
Of course I do.
I knew you would. You care so deeply about what you love. We're in the same in that regard. If you were to lose your home, or if you found out you could never be a knight, you'd never give that up for me, would you?
Would we give up being a knight or not? That's our question. It's up to you to decide, folks. I know, Fury, this is a hard fucking question. See, Kuya's route was really easy, because it was a very easy question to solve there. Because that's the thing. Romance games are kind of like mystery games, or puzzle games. You have to solve the puzzle of the romance. Kuya's puzzle was very easy. He is insecure and a big tough guy, and you gotta be a big tough girl for him. Tarun's puzzle was a little trickier, but we managed it. It was talking about very difficult subjects, but ones that were definitely, like, more simple in a relationship sense. Because it was basically like detailing, hey, this is a relationship that could be dangerous. Faulkner is asking us to save his country with this question, basically. That is one vote for, you know what, yeah, I'd never give up being a knight. That's one for the knighthood. Yeah, don't give up. Don't give up. No, you're right. Of course you're right. I want to be a knight more than anything. I want to do some good in this world. But in this case, it doesn't feel good to be good. I wish I could just be selfish this time. Just do what I want and let everyone else worry about themselves. I wish I could too, but I can't. Neither of us can. You wouldn't think this to look at us, but we're very much alike. I guess we are. That's sort of comforting in a way. Yeah, this is really difficult. This is really difficult. I like this. I feel his hand on my cheek. His kiss like a little drop of rain. So small and soft, you're not even sure it was real. I'm going to miss that. Keep walking a little longer. I guess there's not much to say after that. And soon, sooner than either of us expected, we can see Starlight City way off in the distance. It's so beautiful, glittering like a little pile of jewels off in the horizon. I hate it. Looks like we'll make it there by nightfall. That didn't take long. Mount Needle hasn't really lived up to its dangerous reputation, has it?
It certainly hasn't. I almost wish we'd have a bear attack or something. Just so we could have stayed a bit longer.
We wait there a moment, listening to the wind, almost hoping for some feral growl to echo in the trees. Of course, nothing happens. Everything's perfectly fine. Nothing's ever there when you need it, is it? You know, the weather is looking a little rough. Maybe we should make camp early. To be safe, of course.
Yes, I think you're right. The snow could get much worse at any moment. We don't want to tempt fate, do we?
The weather is absolutely fine. We're lying to ourselves, and we know it. Just so we can have one more night together. But if one night is all we're going to get, I'll take it. It doesn't take long to set up camp in a nearby cave. In fact, the sun is still up by the time we're done. I feel a little guilty about it, knowing Faulkner's bride-to-be is waiting for him. But not that guilty. We eat dinner together, me sitting with my legs folded, and him perched on my thigh. It's kind of nice having you sit there.
Blushing already, are you? It's quite becoming.
No, it's just... Okay, maybe I'm blushing a little. I mean, you're touching my thigh. That's so intimate. Ah, I knew it!
Rosemary, my dear, please don't be offended by my asking, but have you been with anyone before? I remember you said you haven't been in love with anyone. But have you been, as you put it, intimate?
Eyebrow waggle. But what makes you ask that? Softly rubs his hand against my skin. Even though his hand is so small, his touch feels electric.
Well, if you see this as the height of intimacy, it occurs to me that we can do much better than that. Oh,
like I said, Faulkner fucks. Oh God. I blush a lot stronger when I hear him say that, which was probably his intention. Oh, right, QWERTY, you didn't get to see the last two. The first route we did last time, the first route ended in Kuya just being like tied up incidentally, and them making it very clear both of them are very heavily into BDSM. This game is pretty horny at times. But my heart also sinks a little thinking about our situation. Maybe it's for the best we can't keep seeing each other.
Goodness, Rosemary, I don't mean to pressure you. We don't have to do anything. I just thought, since this is our last day together...
Of course I want to, do things. Kuya is the best boy. Gosh, I can't believe I just said that out loud. But what can I even do? I mean, I'm so big and you're so... we just don't match up,
Don't be silly. Our difference in size was never the problem. Didn't I tell you, dear? I haven't been in love before, but I've been with many women. Not all of them were Fae. I'm not so close-minded as that.
You've been with women my size?
Many times, yes. Well, perhaps none so muscular.
Gosh. That means you figured out how to make it work. On the one hand, I am kind of happy they're at least talking about this, because this is an important thing, but also, my fucking god. I mean, it was good for both of you.
Listen, dear, I'm not one to kiss and tell. I do try to be a gentleman, however unsuccessful my attempts may be. Having said that, let me assure you, I have never once sent a woman away unsatisfied. Oh my fucking god! Oh,
we were afraid of the fetish stuff happening with Tarun, but this is Jesus. I'm glad that we're going to be ending with the most normal one, because it's just a dude.
There's a great number of things I could do with you.
I can't really imagine.
I'd be happy to demonstrate.
Fuck. Yes, please. Twitch, please don't kill me. I'm very curious on how that last one could be the least normal, but we'll see. Sometime later, we lay down together and Faulkner falls asleep on my chest. Stay awake a little longer. Can't stop thinking about what we just did together. It was nothing like what I expected, and more amazing than I'd hoped. Well, they just fucked. They just did it. Please don't. Yep, I'm even sadder we won't be together. I'm also happier than ever that I met him in the first place. When I do drift off to sleep, I doze peacefully. Achievement unlocked. Get laid. That is, until I'm woken by a small figure shaking me awake before sunrise.
Rosemary, wake up!
5 more minutes.
Come now, we don't have all day. Wake up.
I opened my eyes to see him standing on my chest, jutting his face into mine. Alright, I'm awake. Last night was really special, by the way.
Well, yes, that goes without saying. But we need to get going now.
Are you that excited to get married?
Quite the opposite. I've decided this is all so silly. All so silly. I found someone I want to be with. I'm not going to throw all that away over what? My pride? Sticking to some foolish decision I made months ago? No, nonsense! So, come on, we're going back over the mountain, the way we came. We've got plenty of supplies, and we know that together we can handle anything this dreadful place throws at us. I know we can make it back, and I'm not getting married to some stranger when I'm in love with you.
Love? You love, I mean, he is a fae. Maybe the months feel longer when you're tiny. Wow. Faulkner, I think I feel the same way. But we can still go to Starlight City. You can tell them the wedding's off once you get there. There's really no point in going back the way we came.
My dear, it's symbolic. For goodness sake, don't you have any flair for the dramatic? Adventure!
I like it when you call me dear.
But of course, you're right, as you usually are. Let's hurry and get going, regardless. I don't want to wait any longer to tell them I'm in love!
And so we gather up our things and rush out towards the city. Can't remember ever feeling so light and giddy. I guess we got the good ending. Maybe? We'll see. Yeah, the Fae are very fickle. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. Running through the snow together, watching the sun rise and turn the sky pink. He reaches to brush a snowflake off my cheek. And I tremble a little at how close he is. His body gives off so much warmth, even though he's so small. Yeah, that's a good question. And yeah, he can still make a decree to allow the exiles back. That's true. She was gonna drop it, squish him. Aw, QWERTY, I love you so much. Doesn't take long before the trees thin out, and the air starts to warm, and we find a road. It's a path that will take us straight to the heart of the city. Here we are! This is it! It sure is. Staring down at the road, I feel like I can see our future unfold before us. Faulkner, however, is oddly quiet.
I know we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. I mean, we've got to get to know each other first.
Oh wait, no, that was Rosemary. We have to get to know each other first, but it would be nice to live here together someday. The city is so beautiful, right? I can picture us in a little house by the park. Faulkner, did you hear me?
I don't know. Rosemary, I'm sorry. We can't do this.
Ah. There's the other shoe. He is very conflicted. You mean living by the park? Well, I'm not married to the idea.
Don't be foolish. That's not what I meant.
His voice is suddenly cold. Shocks me into a silence for a moment. I feel like I've been slapped in the face.
I'm sorry, but this can't be what you really want. You only just met me. Whatever feelings we have are just the rush of infatuation, right?
Well, maybe, but isn't that how real feelings start? I want to see where it takes us. You don't have to worry, Faulkner. I want this as much as you do. Faulkner?
Come on, Rosemary. I'm trying to make this easier.
What? But you were saying before that you, what are you talking about?
Are you really going to make me say it out loud?
In that moment, my heart sinks into my stomach. The look on his face is so empty and sad. I know that I've lost.
I can't really be with you. It was so stupid of me to imagine I could, even for a moment. When I saw the city on the horizon again, I remembered the promise I made to my people. I can't break that promise. To do that would be throwing away everything I care about.
But don't you care about me? I care about you.
I know you do. I just can't. I can't care about you. I can't afford to care about you.
Faye, what you gonna do? I don't want to hear any more. I almost start to cry right there, but I won't give him the satisfaction. You didn't have to jerk me around like that. You didn't have to give me hope and then yank it away again.
I know. I'm a fool. You see, I got carried away in the moment, and I just ended up hurting you more. That's why I have to stop being impulsive and do what's right. Honestly, though, there was no way we were ever going to do this. Neither of us. It was just a nice dream to pretend to believe in, for a moment.
I didn't feel that way. I thought it was real. Guess I really am just some big dumb oaf, if I was stupid enough to believe that. You said you loved me. You're the first person to ever say that to me. Was it not true?
I love my kingdom. That's all.
Oh, Faulkner. And just like that, it's over. We walk down the path in cold silence. Once from the city, I let him kiss me softly one last time. I let him down onto the road and we go our separate ways. Because he's so small, it doesn't take long for him to disappear into the crowd. As soon as he does, it hits me all at once, like a weight off my chest I can't get off. I sit in the middle of the town square and cry. It isn't quite accurate to say I'll never see him again. For one thing, he'll become king, and I'll see his coronation. But more importantly, in the years to come, Faulkner's plan will work out exactly the way he knew it would. I'll see his face in portraits everywhere, a symbol of hope and progress known across the land. Yep, we got a bad end. Damn. Sorry, Uncle Faulkner. The face of the man who united the Fae and together with his queen, brought his people to a new age of prosperity. As for me, I become a knight and get to do all kinds of amazing things. But I never forget Faulkner, or the time we shared together. And as the years go by, even the hurt I feel fades away. In the end, I'm proud of him for doing what he did. It was the right thing, after all. Our time together was just a tiny chapter in the great book of his life. Why should he have thrown everything away over someone like me? Still, I'd be lying if I said I never wished it were different. Feel an ache inside whenever I hear his name. I never again carry him on my shoulder, but I always carry his memory in my heart. I only hope he does the same with me. He said he didn't really love me. Maybe I'm naive, but I never believed him. Maybe. He does seem like somebody who sacrifices too much of himself. Damn. Damn, that was a bummer. I'm sorry. Bad end. Maybe we would have been able to solve the problem by a different way. Like, his kingdom needs money. We could just be like, hey, my mom, I own a farm. My parents are a farm. Okay, it's a good ending, but that was definitely the bittersweet, not happy ending. Yeah, he didn't say he didn't love her. I do personally think that if they did get together, what probably would happen is like, hey, my farm at home has food. We can just sell you food. We could, like, super cheap, because it's not like you need a lot of food to feed your people. But damn, sad ending. Let me actually check my achievements to see. Yep, we did not actually get an achievement for that. I guess the sad endings do not have achievements. Dang. Well. Time to do the dance. Okay, everyone, it's time to do Little Prince Elgander and his caretaker. It's time for the child and the babysitter. Time for Scruffy Hottie, who's just a regular human, so nothing weird will happen. I gather all my supplies together and arrange for a mountain donkey to carry the little prince and his effects. As soon as that's all taken care of, I let the prince's caretaker know that I'm ready to go. Good. Awfully decent of you to supply us. I've got my flask and my smokes, so I'm ready to hit the road. That's not all you brought, is it? Huh, course not. I've also got my deck of cards. In case I've got to, Get out of the swarmy Brit voice, Zodi. Come on. Ha, course not. I've got my deck of cards, in case we've got time that needs killing. He winks at me. Is he just fooling around or what? I'm so bad at knowing if people are kidding. And yeah, he's got a crow. Yeah, it's always good to be prepared, right? For some folks. Me, though, I prefer just to wing it. Speaking of which, you can call me Crow. It's the name I like best these days. Crow? Nice to meet you. I'm Rosemary. He is a crow! Scruffy Hottie is a crow. So, where's the prince? Still sleeping in. Most likely. That lazy little... He proceeds to call Prince Elgander a word that I can't repeat in good conscience. He called the prince a shit. He called him a little prick. Crow? Should you really be talking about it that way? Sweet lady, if you knew half the trouble he gets up to, you'd agree that that's too kind a word. Yeah, we got ruby disease, folks. Well, what do we say? Do we tell him off, or do we say fuck the royalty? Vote time! Is he or is he not being appropriate? Okay, that's 2 votes for fuck the royalty. 3. Maybe you're right. I'm just not used to it. Sorry, I'm just not used to hearing any language like that. Caught me off guard. We don't talk that way down on the farm. Farm girl, eh? I guess I'm not a guest. You got strong shoulders. There we go! That's what I'm looking for. Oh, do I? I mean, I don't know. I guess I do work out a lot. I can tell. I'm good at lifting spirits, not much else, because he's got a little beer. He's got a beer, it's a joke. We're going to be real glad to have you along, darling. I can tell. Oh, goodness, do you really think so? Well, of course, I'll do my best. Heh. Gosh, I almost forgot what we were even talking about. You were saying you don't care much for my language. Uh-oh. I clicked the wrong button. Oh, well, I'm sure I'll get used to it. Listen, if you're afraid I ain't taking this seriously, I'm sorry I gave you that impression. I promise, I care about that little fellow like he was my own flesh and blood. I'm just trying to have a little fun while I'm out here, you know? Fun? But it's a deadly dangerous mountain full of danger and deadliness and bad stuff. That could be cool. I have a theory based on an achievement I saw that in the public achievement list for this game, but I'm not going to say anything. We'll be fine. I got a good feeling about this. Besides, you look like the kind of do-gooder who could take care of a scoundrel like me. And him. Now you're calling the king's son a scoundrel. What the old king don't know won't hurt him. But I'll watch my language, if that makes you feel better. You've got a hell of a smile. I don't want to be the one making it go away. Oh, thank you. Does he talk to like this to all the ladies? I don't get a chance to ask because the little prince arrives from his room. He's carrying a box of books and toys and doesn't look too pleased. These are mine! Don't touch them! Let's go already! I'm bored! So they're obviously related, right? What'd I tell you? He's such a little scamp. Hi there, Prince Elgander. My name's Rosemary. I bet we're going to be great friends. Now don't you worry, because the path across Mount Leadle may be tough, but I'm sworn to protect you. Crow is absolutely a bastard. Yeah. And so, I will. Come on now. Answer the nice lady when she's talking to you. Shut up! You're not my dad! Can't argue with that. Sorry, I tried. Cool. And with that inspiring start, our journey begins. Crow is the son of a biscuit eater. The way up the mountain is pretty easy so far, and it isn't snowing much yet. I'll take that as a good sign. Crow and I walk side by side, and the prince rides his mountain donkey, which follows Crow obediently. Pretty good going so far, huh, Prince? We couldn't have asked for better weather, that's for sure. Here! Come to think of it, I never asked why you're taking this path in the first place. Have a good tea, Fury. The prince has just been out on one of his little jaunts. He's got to go back to Starlight City in time for his birthday in a few days. That doesn't really answer my question. What does he mean by little jaunt? The prince is like 5 or something. I guess I just don't understand royal stuff.
Hear that, little fella? Your birthday's gonna be a pretty big deal. King's gonna fill the whole city with light in your honor. Not that you'll ever appreciate it.
Shut up! I don't care. What do you know about Daddy anyway?
Not a whole lot, to be honest. But that don't matter. Come on. Enough already with this sour face. I don't remember being this bratty at your age.
Let's play a game. Yeah, that's it. A fun game. Like, I Spy with My Little Eye? Something... Wait. Is it snow? Yes? That wasn't a very good game. Sorry.
Goodness night. I've got it. How about a magic trick?
As soon as he hears the word magic, Prince Elginder's face lights up. He glares at Crow with intense, furious interest. Show me! Show me! Show magic! Crow steps closer to him, a sly look in his eyes, moving slowly to draw out the tension of the moment.
Seems you didn't wash enough, little prince. You got something behind your ear.
What? That's not true. It's the servant's job to wash me anyway.
Without another word, Crow pulls a huge red rose, thorny stem and all, out from behind the prince's ear. Goodness.
Wait, where did that come from? How did he even do that? A flower that big, I'm sure I would have seen where he pulled it from. And you'd think the petals would be at least a little crooked from being hidden up a sleeve, but they look smooth and fresh, and sparkle with perfect dewdrops. That's amazing. The prince, however, seems less impressed than I am. I do love his expression. I love this little shit. This shit heel. That's not real magic, stupid. That's silly tricks. The jesters at the palace do that. I've seen it 1,000,000 times.
You sure it's not real? Maybe you ought to call the royal guard and have them throw me in the dungeon, just in case.
He turns his back on Crow and immediately retrieves a book from his basket of possessions. You're boring! I'm reading my story now. Everyone go away!
Well, you heard the man.
He's certainly a handful.
I warned you. Not too good with kids, I take it.
I should be. I grew up with lots of little brothers and sisters. Usually they like me. I don't know what's going wrong with this one.
Don't worry too much about it. I have a feeling he likes you plenty somewhere deep down.
I'm pretty sure I know exactly what this is going to be now. This is just a theory. I think Crow and the prince are related, but they're not brothers. They're the same ass person. They're just the same whole ass person. Just one of them's from the future. It's just coming to mind. I mean, they look identical. They look identical. They could be brothers. They might be the same person. We'll see. Crow hands the rose smoothly to me.
For you, darling.
Yeah, that's what I think is happening. I think it's magical time travel. Oh, thank you. It's beautiful. It really is. Against the snow and the cold sky, the rich red petals glow with warmth and beauty. I've never seen a color so striking. By the way, what you said about the royal guard, you couldn't really be thrown in a dungeon for doing tricks like these, right?
If they thought it was real magic, I could. That's the way the wind is blowing in the Southern Kingdom these days. The old king hates magic. Afraid of it, maybe. Using spells can get you fined or locked up in for a few months. It's going to get worse in the coming years, I reckon. Lucky for me, it's all just parlor tricks.
Does seem like royal bastard. But also, some of how he is saying what he is saying. I don't remember being this bad as a kid. It's going to get worse in the coming years. I bet it immediately twigs off to me. That's a relief. So, how do you do that anyway? It's like sleight of hand or something, right? He's silent for a moment, but there's a smile in his eyes. Now, if I went and told you all my secrets, I'd lose my air of mystery. And what would I have left to seduce you? Seduce? I clutch the rose tight to my chest and my face grows hot. But Crow winks at me like we're sharing a little joke. Maybe. He's gotta be kidding, right? It's hard to get a good read on him. He has a twisty sort of nature. Am I even sure I can trust him? Crow keeps on walking ahead Crow keeps on walking ahead, whistling a jaunty tune. The donkey trots after him, with the prince safely in tow. I stay behind for a moment. I check on the rose, wondering how long it can last without water, and it's only then that I notice it's somehow just gone. My hand is still tightly clasped around what I thought was the stem, but there's nothing there. I glance around to see if it's fallen or blown away. There's not a trace of red in all that snow. If the rose did fall, it's lost for good. Wouldn't I have felt that happen, though? How strange. No, I'm being silly. I must have dropped it. Honestly, I'd lose my head if it weren't screwed on. It's a bit disheartening to lose such a beautiful gift, but there's nothing to do but keep moving. Been walking for hours. The road gets a bit steeper, the going a little harder. The prince seems happy at least, riding his donkey, reading his stories, and ignoring everything else. Making it across Mount Needle with a child is going to be tough, and I'll have to take it more slowly and carefully than I usually would. Crow, for his part, doesn't seem too concerned. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Maybe. So, what's your story, Crow? I mean, you're probably more than just a babysitter, right? Sure, well, there's not much to say about it. I go here and there, do this and that. Nothing too interesting. I'll live out of my hat sometimes. You know what it is, don't you? You're a fellow wanderer, I can tell. You really think so? Sure, you got the look about you. Star in your eyes, wind in your hair, even when you're standing still. Ha, you're funny. Who says I'm kidding? Oh gosh, I don't know. I never really thought of myself that way before. A wanderer, huh? Well, I guess that's kind of true. Sounds so romantic. What I really want to be is a knight, though. I mean a real knight. Huh. You got your heart set on working for the royals, do you? So, why does Rosemary want to be a knight? Because the honor of knighthood! Or, it's more than just that. I know what I would pick here. Yep, that's 2 votes for, I guess she's more about it than just that, which, as we know, is true. Like we've seen in other routes, she is in this for the thrill. I'm not sure. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to be made a real knight. I mean, who wouldn't? It's what I've dreamed of since I was a little girl. But I guess I've learned that life isn't always what you imagine it'll be when you're a kid. Ain't that the truth? It's not the sword or the armor or some monarch's approval. That's not what I really want. What matters to me is helping people, I guess. Doing good things. Heroic things. I want to become someone who can be trusted and depended on. To come through no matter what. I don't need to be officially knighted, so long as I can be that. When I say it like that, it probably sounds so silly. Not at all. I know just what you mean. I wait for him to elaborate on that, but he doesn't. Once again, I realize he never really answered my question. Mind waiting here for a second? I'm gonna go have a smoke. And I don't like to do that in front of the little one. Oh, sure, go ahead. I'm happy to watch Prince Elginder for a moment. But when Crow's not back after 20 minutes, I start to worry. It's getting dark. Anything can happen on a mountain like this. Can't forget that. Pulling the prince and his donkey along with me, I set out to look for Crow. Through the trees, I can see a small clearing. I can just make out Crow's familiar shape through the branches.
But when I try to push through, the shape disappears. All I can see is a flash of blue on the cliff side opposite. Before I can go any further, there's a hand on my shoulder. Looking for me? Yeet! How'd you get behind me? Just the usual way. Sorry, darling. Didn't mean to scare you. He's definitely a fucking wizard. He's 1000% a wizard. That's okay. I wanted to make sure you were alright. We should just push on a little further and then make camp. Sounds nice. Lead the way. I turn and leave with him. For some reason, I don't want to look behind at me at what I saw, or what I thought I saw. Maybe I imagined it, but that flash of blue lingers in my mind, hovering around the edges of my memory. There's something familiar about it, but I can't place it. I guess it doesn't matter. Soon we make camp for the night in a small cave on the cliff. I drift off to sleep, the worries fade a bit from my mind when I see flashes of blue light in my dreams. I wake the next morning to the sound of a crackling fire and the shuffle of cards. Crow is doing more little tricks for Prince Elgander. When Crow correctly guesses the prince's card for the 5th time in a row, the little boy almost cracks a smile. The smell of fried egg wafts through the tent. I guess that he's made good use of my food supplies. Crow, that smells good. You can cook? Sure, when the opportunity goes and presents itself. You really are a man of many talents. Darling, you have no idea. So, want me to read your fortune in the cards? Sure, I love hokey stuff like that. Do you now? Well, I'm fond of it too. Settle down on the floor across from him. He shuffles the deck and deals out 2 cards face down in front of me. Okay, pick one. Well, left or right, folks? It's a vote for left. It's a vote for enjoy the D20. You know what? I am going to roll for it, actually. Because my instinct is to pick left, but let's see what fate has in store. It says left. So left it is. Oh, damn. It's the Pale Fox. I like this guy. Look at how dead he looks inside. Definitely a scruffy hottie. He looks pretty sneaky. Oh, don't worry, darling. It just means you're awfully good looking. You know, a real fox. Of course, I don't need cards to tell me that. Gosh, you're such a flirt. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I know I ought to, but I never am. What's it really mean, though? I mean, being good-looking isn't a real fortune. Crow hesitates before he answers. There's a look on his face that seems unlike him. Actually, the Pale Fox means somebody's lying to you, and you don't even know it. My heart sinks. I know fortune-telling is just a silly game, but this feels different somehow. After all, the only person who could possibly be lying to me right now is... it's me. I've been lying to you. Huh? You have? Darling, the truth is, I ain't got the faintest idea what any of these cards mean. After a moment of stunned silence, we both burst into laughter. Fuck, that's smooth! He's absolutely from the future. Fucking time-traveling wizard asshole. I love him. I bet you think you're very cute, don't you? Okay, let's just eat already. 3 of us have a nice breakfast together. Huddled together in warmth and safety, you'd almost forget that we're on a perilous mountain, and that after another day of travel or two, we'll part ways and never see each other again. I already feel a little sad thinking of saying goodbye. Eating together, talking and laughing. It feels almost like the family dinners we had on the farm.
Look, that's just how my brain works sometimes, Knight. I make good deductions from nonsense. Oh, that magician has 2 bunnies. Clearly, that magician is a twin. I catch Crow meeting my eyes, and I blush and look away. He'd probably laugh if I knew what I was thinking. Once we're ready to go, we venture out of the cave. It snowed a lot overnight. Try not to let it get me down, but the trail we were following is hard to find. On the other hand, considering the horror stories I've heard about Mount Needle, I guess it could be worse. After walking for a few hours, though, I realized the snow's taking us pretty far off course. We're officially lost. All damn. Ahead of us is an open crevasse, deep and jagged, like the stone was torn open by the claws of some giant beast. I can't see a way past it, and we shouldn't have come across it anyway, not if we were following the path I'd wanted. That's trouble. Feel that swearing yet? No, I don't! Fuck you! No, never! I'll never swear, you bastard! Don't worry, I can figure this out. Let's see. There's no way to make a bridge. Not a reliable one, anyway. Maybe I could try to leap across? And find something on the other side? I'm bored! This is taking too long! Calm down, little fella. I have a feeling we'll find our way across somehow. It's nice you're optimistic, but having a feeling isn't really helping with... Before I even can finish the thought, a terrifying shriek shakes me to my core. Rising up over the hills is what looks like a giant owl. Eee! After shrieking in fear, the poor little prince faints dead away. I'm glad he's not awake to see the huge bird's vicious talons unfold, or hear the deadly noise of its noiseless wings as it flies right at us. Is that a night rock? But it's the middle of the day! That's impossible! Night rock! Giant owl! That fucking rules! I like that! It shouldn't be hunting in daylight. There's no time for questions, though. It's coming right at us. Well, shit. What do we do? Do we draw our sword and go to fuck this guy up? Or do we grab the prince and run? Okay, that's a vote for fight and a vote for run. Do we have any tiebreakers, folks? Anyone else want to give a suggestion? There's another vote for fight. Okay, let's fight this bird. I pull out my greatsword, but the night rock is too fast. In one swift motion, it's on top of us, and the sky above me is blocked out by a mass of wings and feathers. Dang it! Don't forget to roll! In one massive talon, it grabs hold of me and Crow. In the other, it grabs a donkey and the prince. As far as I can tell, it hasn't dug in its claws yet. But we can still get out of this alive. Carries us high over the crevasse. Luckily, I have my sword in my free arm, operating on pure instinct and ignoring the sinking feeling in my stomach as we rise up into the air. I strike! My blade digs into the meat of the Night Rock's left talon, the one grabbing on to me and Crow. The Night Rock screeches in pain, but so does Crow. Did the claws dig into him when I attacked? I don't see any blood, but I'm starting to panic all the same. I better not strike again. I can't risk hurting anyone. I'm not going to attack again. I have no idea what to do. I wish I had planned this out better, but then I would have expected the Night Rock to attack in daylight. Maybe I can wait for it to drop us in its nest and strike quickly at its heart, try to kill it in one blow. My mind is racing, so I hardly notice that the Night Rock slows its flight and drifts to the ground. As soon as the rock passes over the crevasse, it drops us back into the snow, safely on the other side. Then the great bird immediately flies off, disappearing into the cloudy sky. Ah! Crow summoned it as a familiar. Devious. And that's why he got hurt when we stabbed it. Crow, what the fuck is wrong with you? Warn us first! What? Why did you do that? Never mind. Gotta check on the prince first and make sure he's okay. I brush his sweaty hair out of his face and feel for a pulse. Prince Elgander is still unconscious, but alive and safe. Thank goodness. I don't know how I'd live with myself if something happened. I look around. The Night Rock is completely gone. The donkey seems fine, if a bit dazed. Crow, however, is lying on the ground, clutching his left hand. I rush to his side and pull him out of the snow, cradling him in my lap. That's good lap. Ain't this a nice situation? Fuck, I knew he was gonna do this. Oh, shut up! You're hurt. Gosh, your hand is really bleeding. Is that where it's dug its claws in? Wait, that doesn't make any sense. It grabbed you around the waist, so it shouldn't have clawed your hand. Idea is coming to mind, foggy at first, but slowly solidifying around the edges. I cut the night rock on his claw, and Crow cried out in pain when I did, and now his hand is bleeding in the same spot. I mean, that's not what I was thinking at all, Fury, but maybe. I know what this means, although I can hardly believe it. You couldn't have, could you? Huh, you nailed me good with that hit. Don't fret about it, you couldn't have known. I reckon the jig is up now, though. You were possessing the Night Rock? But why would you do that? Get us across the crevasse, of course. Didn't expect you to be so quick to get a hit in, though. He does kind of look like Rose. Damn, girl, you're good. Those old royals would be fools not to make you a knight. That means you're a mage! You're actually possessing a creature of that size? That's incredible! But if my strike on its left talon caused you to get the same cut on your left hand, then that means... He grins up at me and coughs, his voice a little wheezy. Yep, I'm not too good at possessing. Mage skilled in that particular art would know how to keep his soul apart from the Night Rocks, and not take it on the same wounds. As you can see, I'm pretty rusty at it, so I took some damage. Ouch, oof, you really nailed me, darling. It's like he actually is proud that I sliced open his hand. What is he, crazy? He seems mostly okay, though. After a moment, he manages to stand up. His hand is bleeding, but not as badly as I thought. That's a relief. Yeah, he's a red mage, definitely. If you're wondering, I know lots of types of magic, but only a little of each. Just enough to be slightly useful in most situations. I dedicate most of my time and energy to mastering one particular magical art. That one's a real humdinger. Takes up a lot of my attention, so I don't have much left for anything else. He's a fucking time traveler. Time traveler. Time traveler. Well, if you're not good at possession, why did you try and use it to get us across the crevasse? Well, like I said, I know just enough to be useful. And hey, you can't say it didn't work. Sorry for not telling you my plan beforehand, by the way. I was kind of hoping to keep up the ruse a little longer. Do me a favor, though. Don't tell the kid. I still need to wait for the right time. Well, should we tell him or not? That's the question. One abstain and 2 for option number 2. You should have told the king, bud. I'll let you tell him when you're ready. I really think you should do it soon, though. Does his father know? Oh, don't tell me you lied to the king. The king doesn't know. Not yet, anyway.
I didn't exactly lie about it. But could you blame me if I did? You know he hates magic. Are you really eager to see me thrown in jail? I don't think he'd throw you in jail just for being magical. I mean, even if he hates magic as much as you say, that would be so unreasonable. You sure put a lot of trust in that old man. I'm just saying, he's more likely to throw you in jail for lying about being magical. You should tell the truth as soon as possible, and you should have done it right away. Rosemary's wrong, by the way. Rosemary's 100% wrong. Kings are jerks. Honestly, why would you take such a big risk? I'm sure you must have your reasons, but... I got plenty of reasons, but you let me worry about that for now. Put it out of your mind, okay, darling? He flashes me a bright grin, and somehow it doesn't feel like he means it. Smile back, but I'm not sure if I mean it either. For what it's worth, I am sorry I lied to you, truly. I guess it's okay. You probably felt like you didn't have much choice, right? Now that I think about it, I should have guessed. Those little tricks you were doing really were magic. Whenever I asked you about them, you'd flirt with me to dodge the subject. Rosemary, I may be a lot of things, but I'm not a man who uses a woman like that. It wasn't part of my plan to sweet talk you. I just couldn't resist. You really feel that way? Crow doesn't answer, but turns away to face a large jutting rock. He lifts his hand, and I can see his fingers glow with blue light, the same blue I saw on the cliffside the other night. No point hiding it from you now. I've been drawing these all over the mountain while you weren't looking. Waving his arms in wide arcs, he drew a strange symbol on the rock. The symbol shines with blue light, and my eyes widen. I finally know what is so familiar about this. That's a magical rune, isn't it? I learned about them back when I was working with some scholars. Oh, I knew I'd seen something like this before. You know a lot more about magical business than I thought you might. Not quite the rube folks take you for, are you? I don't really come across as a rube, do I? Anyway, it's like you said, I'm a wanderer. I've seen a lot of things. I don't recognize this particular subject, though. What's it for? Protection, of course. Can't help but wonder, protection from what? Crow's not saying anything more, and I don't want to push it when he's already trusted me with so much. What I need to focus on now is making camp for the night, and making sure the little prince is safe and sound. We hole up in a nearby cave. Once the prince comes to, we do a thorough checkup, and he seems alright, if a little subdued after the day's events. Prince Elginder, do you remember anything? There was a big bird, and you stabbed it and saved us. That's all I can remember, though. I guess that's basically true. Hey now, how about a thank you for the lady who saved your life? Thank you. Doesn't take long for the little prince to fall asleep after dinner, but I have trouble drifting off. Too much on my mind, maybe. Manage to doze for an hour or two and wake up again. Prince Elginder is sleeping like a little angel. The crow is nowhere to be found. I go to check outside the cave. Crow is sitting a few feet away, surrounded by swirling snow. Goodness, aren't you freezing cold? Not really. Come sit with me. You'll see. As I come closer, I realize he's sitting in a little patch of sunshine and warmth. It must be some kind of spell. The snow doesn't touch him, and around his feet are grass and flowers, fresh like they're blooming in spring. You can even see a patch of stars breaking through the swirling snow clouds, right above us. Aw, that's kind of nice. I like this. He's definitely doing a grab, but she's wearing armor, so she can't tell. I have to sit close to stay in the little springtime spot, but as soon as I'm in, I feel warm and safe. He puts his arm around me, and I lean against his chest. I'm just having a nightcap. Want some? No, I don't. I mean, I have a rule about not drinking on the job. You don't drink much, do you? Have you ever tried it before? What? Don't be silly. Of course I have. Well, actually, no. I just haven't really had the chance yet.
I've been on the job an awful lot since I've left the farm. I'm not, like, weird about it or anything, though. And yes, it does seem like he's sniffing her hair. Darling, you don't have to make excuses for me. You don't have to drink if you don't want to. But you should know, it ain't wrong to want to try it. It doesn't make you any less of a good egg. He's being so nice, but for some reason, Crow's words make me well up with some powerful emotion, one I can't name. I'm trying to distract myself by looking away, but the way the magical light hits the grass, it just looks like the garden back home. In the heat of summertime, my heart hurts to see it. I'm not that good. Oh, don't stop with that. I ain't known you for 2 days, and I can already tell you're better than most folks I meet. But I left my whole family to go gallivanting around, pretending to be a knight. Mother and father are getting older, and now they have to handle the farm themselves. I left them. I abandoned them. I'll bet they wanted you to go follow your heart. That's what they said, but they're my parents, so they have to say nice things like that. No, they don't. No, they don't. They should. And by doing so, they're quite good parents. But they don't have to say nice things about you. Parents don't always say nice things. I reckon yours meant what they said. Like Crow said. Like Crow says. Maybe it's a hunch, but I think you're like me. We're cut from the same cloth. Folks like us won't be happy spending our whole life in one spot, never knowing anything else. You would have shriveled up like a daisy in a drought if you stayed. So when you left, you were doing yourself something nice for yourself. It counts as a good deed in my book. Crow thinks I'm like him? Thought makes me feel warm inside, but I don't know if I believe it. He seems so wild and mysterious to me. Could we really be the same kind of person? I'm not sure, but maybe I'd like to find out. Well, do we get drunk? Do we have a drink? Drink? Yes, no. Everybody wants me to take a drink, so I'm going to have a drink of my water. That was a good water. Let's have a drink. Give me that. I snatch his flask from him and take a swig. The drink burns down my throat and my whole body shudders. QWERTY's the only one voting correctly. God, fuck, I wish I did that night. I should have done that. Rosemary, that's... No, it's okay. I know what I'm doing. Emboldened and giddy from the drink, I grab his face and press it against mine, kissing him fiercely. Jesus fucking Christ, Rosemary! At first, he seems surprised. But he soon leans into me, running his fingers through my hair. I shudder again, but this time with pleasure. When we pull away, we gaze into each other's eyes. The flowers rustle at our feet, and the stars twinkle above us. Rosemary, I was gonna say, you know that ain't alcohol, right? It's just hot cider. Fuck. That's kind of funny. That's kind of fucking funny, actually. No, I did not know that. We burst out laughing at the same time. It feels so good to sit here and laugh together after such an intense and exhausting day. Gosh, I am so embarrassed. I thought I was drunk and I kissed you. And you know, that is true. Cider in this sort of setting could be hard. It probably wasn't, though. Just apple juice. Ah, Rosemary, you're jabbing me right through the heart. You're really embarrassed to kiss me? Oh, no, that's not what I meant. I just, it's not something I do. Looks like it is now. Well, then let's do it again. We lean into each other, closing the distance between us as much as we can.
I try to memorize how this feels. The brush of his stubble against my cheek, the way he gently sucks on my lower lip, pulling me closer into his kiss. How the warmth from his body seems to reach all the way inside me and mine into him. The wind whistles fiercely overhead, but nothing can touch this. It's just me and him, safe and sheltered, in our little garden in the snow. When we finally break apart, we stare breathlessly at each other. I feel strange and excited, like I'm seeing him for the first time. Don't laugh, but I've never done that before. That was, my first kiss. Also, achievement unlocked, kiss from a rose. Da-dum tish. Darling, I would never laugh at you. So, I'm not sure how to do this. Should we go back to the cave? Oh, I don't know. It's nice out here, ain't it? Yeah, it is. Let's stay a little longer. Crow lifts his hand and strokes my face with his rough, calloused fingers. There's something sad in his eyes, or am I imagining it? What are you thinking about? Just how lucky I am to be here. Of all the places and times in the world, I'm right here, right now. Crow, you say a lot of things that imply you're a time traveler. For a little while longer, we stay out together. There's a few more things I've never done before, and the Crow is happy to show them to me. They fucked. I wake up early that morning, or at least I think it's morning. It's hard to tell from inside the cave. We went back inside sometime last night, since we didn't want to leave the prince alone for too long. A soft sound from outside, like faraway thunder, shakes me out of sleep. Maybe I should worry about what exactly that is, but it's dark in here, and I'm sleepy, and I feel good. Like I could take on 3 night rocks at once. When I'm more awake, that is. What a wonderful night. It's hard to believe that a few days ago I'd never even met Crow. Now it almost feels like I'd known him for a lifetime. Little Prince wakes up soon after me, looking well rested despite the early hour. He's watching me quietly. Half asleep, it takes me a moment to notice that Crow is nowhere to be found, even though I'm pretty sure he fell asleep next to me. Instead, I find the red rose again, lying in his place. How strange. I thought I'd lost it for good. What time is it? Where's Crow? I don't know. He went outside, but he didn't say why. The prince seems less confrontational. Wonder if he's still feeling subdued after what happened yesterday. Come to think of it, this is the first time I've ever spent any time alone with him. Oh, okay. What are you doing awake, little guy? I can't go to sleep. I heard something and I woke up. Yeah, I think I heard it too. Sounded like a rumbling or something? Maybe it was just Crow getting up. So, you and him are friends now, huh? Why do you say that? Because after that big bird almost got us yesterday, you're always next to each other and smiling at each other. You know, like my mama and papa. Friends. Yeah, I guess so. Hey, about that, are you going to tell your father about the bird? I mean, it turned out totally fine and you're safe and all, but I don't want him to think I put you in danger or was reckless or anything. No, that's okay. I wasn't going to tell Papa about any of this. Whew, that's a relief. I mean, not that you shouldn't tell your father things, it just, you know. Wait, what do you mean by that? You're not going to tell him what, exactly? About this! Crow told me it's our secret. Crow told you? What? Just now? What's a secret? When we came to get me a few days ago, he said we were going on a little trip, and he'd bring me right back. Said I shouldn't tell Mom and Dad about it. I said okay. It's so boring at home anyway. Trip hasn't been fun as he said it'd be, though. I hope we get back soon. I suddenly feel wide awake. Goosebumps riddle my arms, and my mind races to put together what Prince Elgander is telling me. They left town, they left the city, to go to the tavern, to then return with Rosemary. Oops. Been holed up in that tavern for days, so of course news of a royal kidnapping wouldn't have reached me yet. And Crow never explained exactly what they were doing out here in the first place. But that means he really kidnapped the prince and lied to me? Why would he do that? Why is he bringing the prince back now?
No, this is crazy. He couldn't have done that, could he? He said I shouldn't tell you about this either, but you're friends now. It's okay, right? Hear another rumbling sound, somewhere in the distance. Look, just stay right here for a minute. I have to go check something. I rush outside, a few yards off, facing the vast mountainside that lies behind us, with his arms raised like a maestro. Crow. His cloak and hair whip in the wind, which seems to be blowing faster and faster. Far-off rumble gets louder. Crow, what is this? You kidnapped the prince? I don't want to believe it, but he said... I mean, I didn't want to think you were hiding your powers for a bad reason, but... Avalanche. Crow turns to face me. His eyes look sad and haunted, but he smiles softly. Darling, you got no reason to trust me. I've been keeping the truth from you this whole time. I won't blame you if you can't forgive me. I can hardly hear his last few words. The rumble rises to a deafening roar and the ground shakes. Almost too late, I realize what's happening. Crow's raised arms are glowing blue, and he waves and gestures into the freezing air. The mountain seems to crumble as if he's crushing it with a giant invisible hand. Almost too quick to seem real, a wall of churning snow and stone rushes towards us. I can catch glimpses of that familiar blue light in the onslaught. Those runes, you were marking the mountain in key places so you could trigger an avalanche. Avalanche? What's going on? I rip around and my heart drops. The prince has wandered out of the tent and is watching us. I have to keep him safe, but what can I do? I can't fight an avalanche. You kidnapped the prince, and now you're going to kill us. Why? Why would you do this? Because you're upset at how the king is treating mages? Explain it to me. He sighs quietly and winks at me as if we're sharing a secret. Close, but no cigar. And with that, he pulls his hands together, the blue light surging from his fingers, smashed together with a noise like a thunderclap. At once, the boulders marked with Crow's runes move, as if unaffected by gravity, as if they have a will of their own. They pull together and surge forward just as the avalanche is getting close. The marked boulders stop short right in front of us, forming a sort of wall shield, so that the rest of the crashing snow and rocks is diverted. So, there was going to be a natural avalanche that killed them, or probably hurt them a lot. And he is using magic to protect them. I see. Assuming my time travel theory is right, Rosemary took the child across the mountain and died here, and the child survived, but got his face fucked up by rocks, and he became a time traveler to save her. I hear the roar scream in my ears as if the mountainside shakes around us. Protected by the boulder shield, the three of us are safe. Can't tell how long it takes. My heart is pounding and I can hardly think. But eventually the avalanche settles and stops. The three of us, the tent, the donkey, and the path home, all are untouched. Crow finally lets his arms drop. He stands like that for a while, hunched over, breathing hard. When he finally looks back at me, he grins with some effort. I can't think of what to say. But the prince steps right up to Crow, his eyes wide in shock and sudden understanding. You saved us with real magic! I don't know about that, kiddo. What do you think? I don't... A spark of wonder lights up the prince's eyes, then goes dim. His eyelashes flutter, he takes a stumbling step and nearly falls face first into the snow. Crow is there just in time to catch him. That little prince is totally out cold, overcome with fear and excitement. Gosh, that poor kid sure faints a lot. It's sleep magic. Just a touch. I used it the last time we were attacked too. Just want him to get through all this without being too traumatized. Oh, that makes sense. I guess you were saving us from that avalanche after all. I'm sorry I accused you of trying to kill us.
I don't blame you for thinking that, darling. I'd have drawn the same conclusion in your place. Maybe, but that's not how I see you. I just... He reaches out and puts a hand on my shoulder. At his touch, I feel calmer. Rosemary, I promise. It's okay. I still don't understand, though. How did you know the avalanche was going to happen? Simple. I remembered it happening, and I remembered being saved the last time I was here. The last time? Now that Crow is cradling the prince in his arms, I notice a few things I hadn't before. Like Zodi is being right. Their hair and skin are the exact same shade. They both have thick eyelashes. Their eyes share that bright turquoise color, which is unusual for the Southern Kingdom. They both have a small earring on their left ear. No, it couldn't be what I'm thinking. It is! I'm the best in the world. You said most of your attention went to studying one particular school of magic. A really difficult one. Was that time magic? You are the prince? You came from the future? Boy, was I ever wasting my time trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Come on, it's sunrise, and the Royal Guard will be here for me soon. The Royal Guard? So you're in trouble? If memory serves, yes, a whole heap of trouble. But I owe you an apology, and the truth. The whole truth this time. Do you want to hear it? Yes. Yes, please. Please tell me what's going on. Yeah! Fuck yeah! I'm a genius. We decided to get out of the snow first. Back in the cave, the prince sleeps quietly and Crow shuffles his deck of cards. I still don't know what to think yet. My mind is numb. I guess I knew that with time magic, something like this was theoretically possible, but everyone says that no one has ever been able to make it happen for real. Most scholars dismiss time magic as improbable and unwieldy and dangerous. All of those are correct. The idea of a time traveler is a fantasy, unheard of. Could I really be speaking to one right now? I might be talking for a while, so I hope I don't bore you. No, please. I really want to understand. Well, alright then. You asked for it, but damn, I hardly know where to start. Well, for one thing, I never wanted to be a prince. I certainly didn't want to be a king. Well, I always thought that was the one thing I could ever be. My whole life, everything's been planned out for me since before I was born. There was always tons of folk watching me, making sure I was doing everything I was supposed to. The listing things I couldn't do, well, let's just say there's lots of things in the world that ain't proper for the royal family. It was the same for everyone I knew. They all did what the royal wanted, and everything else was forbidden. I never got to leave the palace, never knew there was anything different. Except, I always had a memory of this man, the strange vagabond with powers, who saved me one night from an avalanche on a mountain. I only half remembered it, and I hardly even felt real. When would I have ever been able to see a real mountain? Thought it was only a dream for a while. Still, gave me hope. Knew there was another way to be. There were people who didn't live the kind of life I had, the kind that my father thought was the only one worth living. Those people were magic people, and they could do things beyond what anyone imagined. It was because of that mysterious man who saved me that I eventually looked into magical ability for myself. Secretly, of course. When I found out I had some magical potential, my closed little world suddenly opened a big old window. Wow, did your father ever find out about your magic? Hard to say. I don't know for sure if my old man knew what I was doing. But since that's about when he started making harsher laws about magical practice, I reckon he might have had an inkling. It was a hard time, but through it all I remembered that strange vagabond who seemed to be unable to do anything, and I feel like I do anything too. And in a way I could. When it got to so that magic was completely forbidden, I used mine to escape. That happened in about 10 to 12 years or so. Look for it. It'll make news all over the world. Not to brag or nothing. They'll never find me. I mean to say, they never did. Got clean away. Life was hard living on my own, always on the run, but I managed it, and I was free to do what I liked. Could smoke and drink and keep whatever company I wanted. Nobody was watching me, telling me what to do, this or that. Magic always kept me a step ahead of the Royal Guard. Didn't think I had a care in the world. As I got older, the face looking at me in the mirror got more and more familiar. I realized I was a strange vagabond from my memories. It was my responsibility to set myself on this path. My fate, if you believe in that stuff. But I put all of my other magic studies aside and started training myself in time magic. There isn't anyone foolish enough to teach that stuff, so I was all on my own, cobbling together what I could from scraps of ancient text. That must have been really hard. I don't know much about magic, but I know most people say time magic is impossible. I even heard someone say that the only reason it's not forbidden is because no one can figure it out enough to use it. That's right. But because I've seen evidence that I learned how to do it eventually, that gave me the confidence to keep going. I reckon by now I understand time magic more than any living soul, and there's still so much I don't have a handle on. It's like I'm feeling around in the dark, hoping I'd done doing something right, or at least not knocking over anything important. I might be doing damage to the very fabric of the universe right now. I really don't know any way to know. But I know what I saw, and what I remembered. Figured better to do my part to help the past happen how it did. I just wanted to give myself that little glimpse. Not so much that he gets overwhelmed, just a little spark. That'll burn hotter and hotter the more he grows up. I want to make sure he knows there are people like me in the world, and that he can become one of those people, if he's willing to try. But why did you kidnap him? And if you wanted him, I mean, you know what I mean. Rosemary, he just explained why. Because he's been stuck in a castle for the entire life. If you wanted to show off your magic, why did you make him fall asleep when you possessed the Night Rock? See, Darl, this is where time magic gets tricky. I did things the way I did them because that's how I remember it. Don't remember seeing any magic before the avalanche. But being here on this mountain tonight, that's an important part of the memory. Couldn't figure out how to get him here, except to take him myself. Who knows why I ever did it in the first place? I guess this is one of those tricks of time and fate, where one thing feeds into the other. Of course, I've already messed up and done things differently. But what do you mean? What's different? You, darling. As soon as I saw you in the tavern, I saw you were looking for work, and I just had an impulse. Never could resist a beautiful girl, especially one who could lift me over her head. What? But you're risking everything to come back in time and do this. Why would you do something so stupid and bring me along? What if everything gets messed up? Yep. Well, except the way he's implying it, Rosemary wasn't there in his memory. Which suggests to me that the prince is going to go back in time and Rosemary won't be there, and he will cause that to happen. Because she chose one of the other people. Because she has a choice of like 3 other dudes. And yeah, Crow is right. Maybe. That's possible. I know I'm a damn fool. That's just my way. If I know anything, it's that I can't worry too much. Otherwise, I'll never have any fun in this life. And meeting you, it's been a lot more than just fun. It's all been worth it, don't you think? Well, was it worth it? The adventure that we had a fun adventure. Was that worth it? The adventure we had that could have caused a time paradox that killed everyone, I guess. Everyone seems to think it was worth it, which I kind of agree. It was worth it. This was fun. Yeah, I'm so glad I met you. Even if you had to break the laws of the universe to get here. No one's ever made me feel like this before. Don't really have words to describe it, but if this feeling isn't worth taking a risk for it, then nothing is. Spoken like a poet. See, I knew you'd understand. We really are cut from the same cloth. I don't know about that. Can't exactly bend space-time like you can. But don't you see? In a way, you already have. One look at you and I decided on the spot to change the course of history. Who knows how the timeline might ripple and change, all because you and I got together on this go-around. Can't see all the way times is affected, too vast and complicated for me, but I'd bet my life would have made an impact. Aw, don't say that. It's way too much pressure. Sorry, darling. I'm just calling it like I see it. So, should I call you Prince Elgander now? Nah, keep calling me Crow. I like it best, because that's what you call me. Besides, the name my folks gave me never suited me much. Suddenly, a loud, low note echoes over the mountainside. It's the sound of a horn being blown, the kind used by the royal guard of Starlight City. And that'll be the king's forces coming to take me away. They've been looking for me, or the little prince, I mean. Someone saw him at the tavern back there, but they knew he'd be taking over the mountain, and they gathered their troops to catch him in the act. That's what I'll find out later. You know, that's a good question. We don't know that or not. Don't worry about yourself. I'll make sure they don't hold you responsible. No, they can't do this. It's okay. I'll help you escape. Not to worry, darling. I don't have much time left here anyway. I'll be gone before they get here, whether I like it or not. Huh? What do you mean by that? Crow's not listening to me. The royal guard's horns sound again, louder this time. They're getting closer, but he doesn't seem worried. He kneels by the little prince and gently shakes him awake. Once again, I'm struck by how similar they are now that I know what to look for. Listen up, Prince. You need to tell everyone who will listen that I kidnapped you. Tell them that this nice lady here is the one who chased me off and saved you. Otherwise, they're going to think she's my accomplice. Can you do that for me, little fella? Well, there we go. There's our answer for that. Okay, I can tell them that. And another thing. You may not feel like it, but your folks really do love you, even if they have a funny way of showing it. Don't forget that, even for a second. But don't let them walk all over you, neither. Your old man, he's always... Crow's voice catches in the middle of his sentence and he can't speak. After a moment, he seems to choke back his words, apparently deciding he's said enough. Little Prince furrows his brow. He's still half asleep, and I'm not sure he understands, but it sounds to me like Crow just needed to say it for himself. After a bit, the sleep magic kicks in again, and the prince drifts off. I guess this whole journey will register as a dreamlike experience for him, almost like it didn't even happen. But I know he'll never really forget. And neither will I. Alright. That's as settled as it's gonna get. Now that Crow is standing up again, facing me, I can see that his body looks like it's fading a little. My heart drops. I can guess what that means, but I desperately hope I'm wrong. Time for me to go, darling. No, you can't. We only just met. It's not fair. That's time magic for you. Can't stay in a time that's not my own. Not for long. I'm gonna snap back to the future any minute now. Bring me with you then. I want to go too. Can't do that either, much as I like to. Not sure how to bring someone else with me. And besides, that wouldn't be your time, any more than this one is mine. You'd snap back eventually, just like I'm doing now. But, can you come back? I just want to see you again. Rosemary, I wish more than anything I could say something now to make you smile. But using top magic to come back here, just this once, is already harder than anything I've ever done before. I don't know if I could ever manage to try it again. I almost wish I hadn't met you, just so I wouldn't have to say goodbye now. But I just can't. Even if it all goes wrong in the worst way, meeting you was worth it. I've been trying not to cry, but I can't help it. I rush into his arms and pull him into a deep kiss. His body already feels light and cool, like he's not entirely here.
It's not fair. It's not fair. Crow, listen. Maybe it's not impossible. You know more about time magic than anyone. Maybe you can find a way that we can be together for good. It's a nice idea, darling. I don't want you getting your hopes up. Might spend my whole life trying to find a way and never come up with anything. But how about this? Promise you, I will try. That is an idea, you two. We could do that. That would probably kill us, but we could do that. Even if it does take me my whole life. I'll do my damnedest to find a way back to you. I know that what he's saying is impossible. Crow and I can't stay together. When he's gone, he'll be gone for good. But it makes me feel better just to hear him say that he'll try. Feels good to pretend. I mean, that brings up a good question, QWERTY. If they agreed to do that, that wouldn't actually change anything for Rosemary. Because he lives in the future and her relationship is with him. But the Rosemary that he would meet in his future is not the Rosemary that he met here. Because he's from Timeline B, she's from Timeline A. I don't think that would be possible. Now, it's entirely possible in the future for Rosemary to meet the prince who is the little baby child right now. They could meet in the future. Yeah, it depends on how the timeline resolution works. Unless, after the prince does his stint in the past, he returns to the future and meets Rosemary. That could be how it works. Look out for me in about 20 years, alright? I bet you'll still be real cute. I've always had a thing for older women anyway. Don't make me laugh. I'll just cry even more. We kiss again for what might be the last time. With every second, Crow fades away more and more. Crow? Yes, darling? I really... But before I can finish, he's gone. The prince and I are left there, alone, with the snow and wind howling around us. I wait, dumbfounded, for the guard to arrive. Things unfold exactly like Crow said they would. When the royal guard catch up with us, the prince tells him I saved him from the kidnapper. I confirm the story, and in Starlight City, I'm hailed as a hero. It feels hollow and empty, and I'm barely paying attention. They take the prince away, back to his family. There's not much time to say goodbye, but I wouldn't know what to say anyway. I hope it worked. I hope he'll be okay. I think he will. He's still out there, somewhere in the future, isn't he? It's only been a few hours since we got back, and there's already talk of Southern Kingdom making me a knight, as a reward for my heroic deed. I don't really feel like I've earned it, but maybe I'm just too sad right now. I've lost something important to me, something I didn't even know I needed. How can I care about anything else? By the end of the night, I'm in a tavern, much like the one I started in. I'm lying in my bed, staring at the ceiling. How could I have met Crow, had him taken away from me so quickly? A few days ago, I didn't even know him. How can it hurt this much that he's gone? Even if I did meet him again in the future, could we even be together? After all, he said that he'd have to be on the run. Seems so unfair for it to turn out that way. Why can't he just do what he wants? Why shouldn't he use his magic? It's not like he uses it to do anything bad. He fucking went back in time to kidnap himself. It is kind of crime, a little bit. Not that that is bad, but still. Why does being himself have to make him an outlaw? What if I do become a knight and the king makes me chase down people like him someday? I don't want that. I feel confused, tired, and empty. Most of all, I just miss him. But life will go on, won't it? I'll become a knight. A real knight. Just like I've dreamed about since I was small. I can go back to the farm and make everyone proud. I'll decide what kind of knight I want to be. I'll be a good one, who protects people like Crow, or anyone who needs help. No one can stop me from being who I want to be. That's what Crow taught me. And who knows, in 20 years, he'll be the Crow I recognize again. It won't be the same. It won't ever be the same, but it'll still be him, even if it's not the him that I knew. And that's something to look forward to. Rosemary... No. No, honey, no. If he goes back in time, and he meets you back in time, then yes, it's probably fine. Don't, though. He's gonna be, he's 20 years younger than you, according to what fucking Crow said. So you'll be 46 and he'll be 26. That's a little much. Suddenly, my deep thoughts are interrupted by a blue light. Flash of blue light. That's a little more reasonable, Knight. But still. I bolt up in bed. Someone's in my room. What's going on? I can't believe it. Sorry to keep you waiting, darling. He's got a scruffier beard, he's got gray hair, and he's got even more scar on his face. Scruffy Hottie has become just even more Scruffy Hottie. For me, it's only been a few hours. For him, it's clearly been years. 10 at least, or more. He looks older, exhausted, haggard, but it's him. It's Crow. It's really you, isn't it? You're not going to disappear again? Not this time. Yep, the age weirdness goes in both directions. He's now like 60. Oh, no, he'd be around 40 as well then. Shrug, it's fine. It's whatever. Time travel! It's weird when it comes to romance. It didn't take me a lifetime. Just a decade or so of study. But I cracked it. I figured it out. Okay, so he's around 30. It's fine. He's 10 years older. It's fine. I'm here again, darling. For good. Most folks thought I was crazy doing all this for someone I hardly knew for a day. But what can I say? I just can't leave a pretty girl alone. I guess not. Because, I mean, in his timeline, Crow kidnapped him, and there was no Rosemary. Because Rosemary picked, like, Faulkner or something. So, I think he is from a different timeline, where Crow kidnapped him and took him to the to and fro, without Rosemary helping. Jesus, Knight. I hope you don't mind I'm not quite so young and handsome anymore. I rush to him and hold him in my arms. It feels so good to do that again. You're perfect. I missed you so much. Not as much as I missed you, believe me. It must have been so hard. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. All that time. I'll have plenty of stories to tell you, that's for sure. Kingdom's a much worse place for magic folk in the future. It's something I want to try and change as much as I can now that I'm back in the past. Are you sure you're okay with that, darling? Nobody quite knows who I am here, but still won't exactly be living by the law. I don't want to drag you down into anything that'll wreck up your future. I don't care about that. I'll stay with you. I'll fight by your side, no matter what. I'm glad to hear that. There'll be plenty of time for that later. For now, he smiles at me and gently guides me back to bed. We've got to make up for some lost time. And that is The Rose of Winter. Thank you very much to Magnolia Porter and all of these other wonderful folk. That was a very fun time. I would agree. My favorites were Crow and Kuya. Absolutely Kuya. Well, he can't change the law because he ran away. He became a criminal. He stopped being the prince and started being a crime man. Now that we're done, now that we are done, I want to give my thoughts on this game as a whole. So, I will say, in order from best to worst, it was Kuya, Crow, Tarun, and Faulkner. No shame on Faulkner. Faulkner kicked ass. But Kuya was, in my opinion, the best actual romance of the game. Which, it's a romance game. Having a good romance is important. I think Kuya had the best romance of the four. I also think he had a pretty fun story. Like, it wasn't super dramatic, but it was fun and enjoyable. They're all good, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, they're all good. I'm just giving my thoughts on all of them. Also, you say Kuya is for the widest audience, but let's be fair here. You're a fan of me, so you're going to be a fan of Kuya, because you're someone who likes stuff that I like, almost certainly. Like, if you like my stuff, you are going to like Kuya more than the others. I can absolutely see people go fucking bonkers for Tarun. Now, Tarun was good. I really like how it explored this power dynamic of he is a dragon, he has a compulsion to eat you that he is going to fight, and it's going to be difficult, and there's this implication that even in a perfectly happy ending, they're going to end this relationship with one of them dead. And it just is fascinating to think about as, like, a story. It wasn't a great romance, but it was a very interesting story. Admittedly, part of this is because Faulkner, we got the bad ending with Faulkner, but yeah, like, absolutely. That's an example. Like, with Faulkner, this might be because we got the bad ending, the sad ending rather, but this one was fun and fascinating, and I love Faulkner. I love this uncle, but it barely felt like a romance. It was just kind of really horny. It's my least favorite sort of romance where it was like entirely on the physical. And okay, I'm using bad ending because the game differentiates them from happy ending and sad ending. So I should be calling it a sad ending because we had the sad end. And it probably would be worse, maybe. We'll see. Like, I'm going to play it to see what it is at some point, probably. But yeah, like, Faulkner's story was the least romantic for me because it was way more focused on the physical side of the romance. And yeah, it literally the Casablanca ending, except he doesn't say, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. He doesn't say that. He was actually quite a bit more. Now, and finally, Crow's ending. Crow's story was quite good. I liked this story. It was a good romance, but does that not happen in Casablanca? Does he not? I could have swore it was Casablanca that has that line. Okay, fair point. What does he say at the end of Casablanca? Because I know they have that. Anyway, Crows was a good story with an interesting twist that I figured out immediately just by looking at them for like 5 seconds, if we're being honest. The instant Crow started talking about things, the way he was talking about them made me go, oh, okay, he's definitely a time traveler. Okay. I did not know that. But yeah, Crow's story was good. The romance was okay. I liked it more than Tarun's, but I think for my own like personal tastes, Tarun is like hotter. So maybe it was more effective for me. But like ultimately, Crow's story was pretty good. And the romance was okay. I will say, Crow's story also feels incredibly short. Yeah. I will say, both Faulkner and the definitely Crow's feels very short. Crow's felt so short. And this is one thing that I do have strong feelings on. I feel like Kuya's is the only one with any good pacing. Like, Tarun's was okay. It's a little stiff in places. Faulkner's was a little too quick. But that might be because we had the bad ending. And Crow's felt like it was, like, half the length of the others. Because last stream was around 3 minutes and, like, 3 hours and some change. And we're done, and we are under 3 hours. Also, and this isn't a negative, this is just me putting this thought out here. Where's all the girls at? Where's all my gay girls? Obviously, they wanted a hunky prince boy game. That's fine. I just think it would be nice. Oh, yes, there's my girl. Love you, kisses, mwah. But yeah, what I mean by that is, it would be nice if one of the princes were a princess, is what I'm saying. Not a deal breaker, not even like a negative, just me being like, hey, cater to my needs, please. There is, and it's full of garbage. And some good stuff. It does feel like Kuya's path had the most effort put into it. And I will say, last Tuesday, Magnolia Porter started the webcomic Golden Boar, which takes place in the city that Kuya is from. So it is clearly one of the things that she cared most about. She probably, this is a world that she loves, obviously, but Kuya's world is Kuya's part of the world is the one that she is most focused on. So it makes sense that one has the most effort put into it. Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying do it because you have to. And I'd rather them not force themselves either. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I would like to kiss a cute girl. I was just bringing that up because, I mean, these are my thoughts. But yeah, that was Rose of Winter. I hope you all enjoyed, because I enjoyed. That was fun. I kind of want to see what Faulkner's happy ending is. Yep, have a good time, Razir. Have fun seeking the ring. I'm glad y'all enjoyed. Next time,
I'm not sure what's going to be next time, because I have plans, but my other girlfriend, Celeste, also has plans. So we're either going to be playing a game that I don't know because I haven't decided, or me and Celeste are going to have a Mega Man X race. We're going to see who's the best at the Mega Mans. And spoilers, she has some degree of talent at speedrunning, and I do not. She's got like, her time I think is around like an hour and 4 minutes. Oh, absolutely. I totally get what you mean, Knight. Yeah, I don't know either. She has done some queer romance in Monster Pulse, her previous comic. It was pretty good. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Hope you all have a lovely night. Take care. I'm gonna go have an eat, because I am hungry. Take care, everybody.